The right hand lead by Maidana that sticks. Another right hand. Broner goes down for the first time in his career.
More than 2 minutes to go in this round. Anthony Joshua is a composed and ferocious finisher. Watch this.
21 knockouts in 21 wins for Anthony Joshua. The chance with the right hand. Ruiz is staggered and an uppercut. Trying to hold on. Strafing right. Ruiz comes to fire back. And Joshua's hurt. Oh, Joshua goes down. Andy Ruiz caught him with a sharp left hook. Joshua's hurt. To evade. Down goes Young on a thunderous left hook.
And that is the vaulting power that we're talking about. Nonito Donaire at this weight class, 118 pounds. Everybody better watch out.
Who the fuck is he talking about?
Oh, great shot from Fury. Terrific right hand. Oh, and down he goes. Right hand, left hand. And I don't think he's going to get up. I think it's all over. I think it's over. Is he going to get up? Can he get up? Can he get up? He does. Oh my goodness. Somehow Fury has managed to get up.
The contract's been signed for February 22nd. Agree, or you will have a lawsuit on your head. You little maggot!
Another 1-2.
Look at Mayorga. Fight's on. Let me tell you, Mayorga, this gets Mayorga into it. He just let him hit him a left hand. Look at him. Right hand. And look at Mayorga.
Oh, wait a minute. Wilder hit Brazil so hard, they are feeling it in Brazil. Mamma mia, what a KO!
He clearly landed more power shots, and if Triple G didn't have the chin of God, he would have been knocked the fuck out.
I tell you what, he could have knocked out a racehorse with that left hook.
Right hand up one, and he has to come behind the jab, you know, to get close.
Oh! One punch knockdown! One shot by the young star! This fight is over!
Fantastic fitness levels here from Lewis Whitson here in his last round. Bowman, firing shot. That's it. 15-12 punch combination from Buckland Davies.
Terrific action in the last round, just like there was in the first three!
I feel like you just fucking me with no Vaseline.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes, yes, yes. What is up? What is up? MCR family, another daily edition of the show live on YouTube, podcast from iTunes, Spotify, radio, etc. I am Matt, the Hipster Hunter, and I believe this is actually, am I wrong here, guys? Is this the first time we're all together? Like, full panel? Right? Yes, yes, air horns. We're already arguing in the green room. It's been a fun pre-show. We're going to talk about all things boxing today. Obviously, Prograis-Taylor went at it for a possible fight of the year contender at the very least. Going to delve into that one, break it down, obviously, with the whole panel, break down all the fights this weekend as well. Lubin card, Shakur Stevenson pick up a vacant title, the Owen Soto card as well on Thursday, plus all the news of the day in the boxing world. Tyson Fury, Claressa Shields flirting with leaving boxing for good and going to MMA, which I gotta say is just trash. Let's not talk about that really, but we have to. What else? Just a ton of news out there in the boxing world I'm forgetting, but it's all there. We're gonna get to it. But first, let's get to the full panel, as I said. And first up, let's go out to the UK. Mr. Robbie Hearns, second cousin, twice removed of Sir Eddie. Rob, how are you today?
Oh, a little drained already. We haven't started yet, but you said we were arguing. I think you can leave me and Foo out of that.
No, Foo was arguing. Foo was there too.
Foo doesn't argue.
Foo doesn't yell. He just speaks, yes. Foo
No,
doesn't yell.
well, Gary's loud, but I don't know if it's yelling.
He's just Italian.
He's got that Italian blood. You get so angry. I don't know. You just need to just woosah. I'm not going to tell the people what the actual
had nothing to do with boxing.
Final argument was about. Oh my god, that went nuts. But yeah, hit that thumbs up, share the show, all the usual good stuff. But yeah, plenty to talk about, including Gervonta Davis's latest idea. But yeah, we'll get to all that. Don't worry about it. Who's next?
Let's go to Gary in Dallas. Since Foo's been like MIA for like ever, it feels like, though it's probably only been like 2 weeks. But Gary, since you've been here like working it, more than Rob even. Shots at Rob. Rob's taking offense. It's okay, Rob. Just talking about just pure showtime. That's all. Like, he's been on the show a lot lately.
The thing is, Matt's only 20-something years old, so he still has that passion, that vibe for life. He hasn't been beaten down yet by.
He's working on it.
I'm working on it.
Come find me in 12 years. Come find me when you're in 30 years, when you're Rob's age. See if you still have that same zest and feist about your
30
passion.
years. That was perfect.
Gary, how you doing?
I'm doing good. It was a great week of boxing.
It was.
Lots to get into. I'm disappointed again for the second straight week that
Rob's right and we're wrong.
Rob was right and me and Matt are both wrong.
Damn it.
We can't keep doing this, right? We can't make a habit out of this. This can't be a weekly thing.
And think about it, we have Canelo Kovalev coming up. Like, it's gonna be a weekend where maybe we do disagree on picks for that main event, and I'm worried if Rob is right for 3 weeks in a row and I'm not. I'm concerned here. But yes, it was a great weekend of fights. Over also in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Mr. Foogatti. Foo, it's been a while. How are you, man?
I'm doing great, guys. Some great banter in the green room there. So yeah, we're all fired up and ready for it, right? Good week of fights, and ready to chop it up. See what everyone's got.
Let's obviously get to the marquee fight of the weekend. Regis Prograis losing to Josh Taylor via was it majority decision? I want to say right. Was it majority decision?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
For some reason, BoxRec just logged me out. Thank you, BoxRec. But digressing from that, obviously this was a close back and forth fight. I really don't care to get into scorecards here, to be honest. I think me and Gary scored it for Regis Prograis. I think Foo scored it for Taylor by a round, I want to say, right? And then obviously Rob scored it for Taylor on the live fight chat. But I don't care to get in that argument because to me the fight was too good to really matter. And plus it was a hardcore fight. Like, whenever a hardcore fight happens, I think naturally those scorecard conversations go away because us hardcores, when we're the only ones that care about it, we know that just is a side topic when the real topic is how amazing this fight was, how we saw so much development and skill and talent from both men that we had not seen before, honestly. Even Josh Taylor's case, even though we know that Josh Taylor can go through adversity within a fight, a la the Victor Postal fight, he still showed wrinkles to his game we had never seen before. And this was just, again, such a perfect pairing between two amazing undefeated fighters that I'm still in awe of this matchup and how it sort of went down. Rob, we're a couple days out from the fight now. Thoughts on the matchup?
Yeah, it was really good. Just top level. Really enjoyed it. I think a lot of people were surprised at Josh Taylor on the inside, how he, how they sort of got real in close to each other, and sort of looking back on it, was that obviously a really good tactic because of Prograis as a puncher. It just maybe didn't allow the leverage on Prograis' punches by getting in close. It didn't have the full sort of power on those shots. But great fight. Both guys for me come out of this was just their stock has just risen. Even Prograis in defeat, he's been class since the defeat with his social media posts and even his post fight just showed what a sort of champion. I think he'll come again. He'll be, I'm sure, a world champion again somewhere down the line. But no, real high level. And it's like Eddie said afterwards, he was asked about it. He said, we just felt going in, how could this not be a great fight? But there's always that worry when you put on a show. Everyone's like, oh, this is going to be a great fight. And there's just occasionally something just doesn't deliver. And you're like, oh, this was going to be. But he said, all the time I'm convincing myself this cannot be anything other than a great fight. Just the style matchup. Sometimes it just doesn't spark off and it's not great. But, everyone seemed to enjoy the fight. I know some had opinions on it, who they thought won and what rounds and what the judges scored, but like you said, put all that to one side for just a second, just to appreciate what an amazing fight it was and what these two guys did in the ring with each other for 36 minutes was for our pleasure, and it was amazing. I really enjoyed it.
Gary, again, a couple days off from the fight now. You were on the live fight chat with us as well. Any sort of new thoughts from the fight now that it's, again, a couple days away from it? Days removed.
Josh Taylor is phenomenal.
He really is.
He's a complete package. I thought if Prograis were able to get on the inside that he would have his way, and Taylor held his own on the inside.
If not, got the better of the inside.
Better of it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of Prograis' good work actually came from the jab off the outside where he set up the jab and then the right hook off the jab. But Taylor did more than handle his business on the inside. He may have won the fight on the inside. I was not expecting that at all. Taylor's going to be a tough out for anyone at 140, and with the size, I think he converts nicely into a full-blown welterweight within a year or two.
Oh, absolutely. I that's going to be a conversation I want to address and tackle is the welterweight run that Taylor's going to have, even Prograis is going to have, and Ramirez, because that's a conversation that's worth having because all these guys look to be the goods, even in Prograis in defeat, right? But Fu, since we have not heard your thoughts on the fight, what are your thoughts on the fight, man? Like thoughts on the scorecard, thoughts on the X's and O's of the matchup itself within the ring, overall thoughts on it? Go.
Well, like we sort of talked about in our little chat that, we all have our top fights, and for me, I think this is my fight of the year. Mainly not because there was a lot of adversity or there were knockdowns or anything like that, but because it was two pretty evenly matched guys at the top of their game, like two champions, undefeated. Neither one gave up ground. No one ran for rounds or took rounds off. Like they literally put everything they had on the line, 12 rounds, and the best man won. Like on that night, to me, Taylor was in every round for the entire round, where Prograis started to lose steam, I think, a lot in that last minute of every round. I don't know if it was conditioning or travel or what, but Taylor seemed to finish a lot of the rounds stronger. And that, to me, is what really swayed like the scorecards. I think if they rematch, it could go very differently. And I could see anyone having the fight for Prograis. I had it scored for Taylor. I posted my scorecard on Twitter. I know you had a dispute about the 12th round, but I thought there were a lot of swing rounds.
Again, like I don't want to get into that conversation because there's other shows that are going to have an hour-long conversation about who won each round, but this is one of those fights that's just not needed in my opinion. But there's no way you should score that 12th round for Josh Taylor. You're completely out of line there, Fu. You're completely out of line there, Fu. But regardless, Josh Taylor, to the points that Gary made, I wanted to sort of tackle that more. His inside game looked just on another level, and we all thought Prograis was going to have that advantage, right? Like even the people that like Rob, like you picked Taylor to win, you probably didn't think that Taylor was going to outwork and out hustle and out manhandle Prograis on the inside, even, right?
Well, I said I think he'll box and box, but he can't help getting in and like a tear up. He will get in there and do it and fancy a fight, but it may not be the wisest of things. But yeah, it was surprising that would seem to be the tactic. And like I say, did that negate Prograis' power? Getting in so close and sort of being on his chest, and did that stop the leverage on Prograis' shots? I don't know.
And we talked about this also, that Prograis lacked real adversity on them come up, even though he fought real opponents. Like, you're not saying that Prograis fought bums or anything like that. Prograis fought former world champions, former world contenders, and title challengers. He fought good opponents. Kayla Raylick, Julius Ndongo, for example. Those are good opponents. But he never faced adversity within the fight. He never faced a guy that was going after him like a guy like Josh Taylor was. And I think there was an issue of just not firing back enough from Prograis, not firing back enough mid-combination of Taylor enough. He would sit there, take a combination, and then fire back his own. It obviously had that sort of aesthetic throughout the fight of one guy firing off and then the other guy waiting, and then when the other guy stopped, he would then fire off, right? But Taylor seemed to fire off more often, more combinations and longer combinations, and he would also be more effective with the shots, it seemed.
Taylor also has a magnificent feint that he turns into like a really good uppercut.
Yes.
And a really good like lead hook. And the whole fight, Prograis was kind of falling for it. And then another thing I noticed about Taylor, when you get to that top level, you really have to be able to take whatever your opponent's willing to give you. And like, he never really forced anything. He just noticed that if he doubled up the jab, that eventually like Prograis was going to kind of cover up, and then he came with the hook off of that jab, and then as soon as like Prograis would lean way to the right, then he would just hit him with a right hook, to the body. And like every time he was just anything Prograis was willing to give, he just took. And I think that's where he really won the fight. Whereas like Prograis never got into a good rhythm in the fight to me. You know, he never like he was really like pity pat shots to score some points, but never like looked like he could hurt Taylor enough to really put him.
I wouldn't say pity pat shots, because there's definitely one moment where he did seem to hurt Taylor. But I will say this: the rhythm factor that is huge. And I also want to add to this point. I think a large aspect of Prograis' game is control, right? And I've talked about this a lot of times in the past about certain fighters that control is something that they value highly in terms of strategy for a fight. That if they lack control, their game sort of falls apart in a way, right? Prograis, I'm not saying he is that guy yet because he's only had one loss. You know, we need to see more, but be on the lookout for that. Is he a guy that he needs to be in control? He needs to be the lead dance partner in the fight. If he's not, then he struggles to win rounds. If that's the case, then that's something that he needs to work on. Again, I don't know if that's the case because this is his real one fight that we can look at and go, it's an example of it, but that's what happens when you only have one loss and it's your first loss.
I want to say I saw a tweet. Someone said, there you go. Josh Taylor has just shown you the blueprint to beat Regis Prograis. And I thought, good luck to any fighter that isn't on the level of Josh Taylor then.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the best way to fight Regis Prograis if you're not that guy. Taylor has got a fucking chin, and he took some like bad body shots. He took some, ate an uppercut off Prograis. I can't remember what round it was, but I think in the live fight chat. Oh my God, Taylor just took that up he's shown he's elite. We saw 16th fight. He's now a unified champion, and I just feel, I think I said it in part of my prediction that we've seen Josh Taylor gut out a 12-round decision after a bit of trouble. We've seen the dog in him come out. Prograis was telling everybody he's got that dog in him. He's got that edge. You just haven't seen it yet. Well, it needed to come out, and not saying it didn't, but he was just slightly outdogged. And
he was just bullied on the inside. He was just bullied.
And especially
when Taylor would throw that shoulder, kind of like just push him back. Like he had no answer. Like he could get at the separation he wanted, and then he'd come right back in and win on the inside too. Like he was bullied the whole fight.
And shout out to Taylor, he put a lot of rounds in the bank early. Like by round 7 or something, like you could tell that he had put some rounds in. Even though maybe the first 4 rounds were close. I know Gary put all 4 rounds for Prograis, though. You could tell that to use this term, the story of the fight was going Taylor's way up until really Prograis was able to sort of get that second wind in him, because by round 4 it seemed Prograis was tired, or not tired, but he seemed to be again playing catch up throughout the round, and that you can't play catch up within a fight and expect to win a round. It's just impossible at times.
Yeah,
Gary, you've been awfully quiet over there. You were the one that obviously scored it for Prograis again on the second watch.
I still scored the first 4 rounds all for Prograis, and the first 2 definitely could have gone to Taylor. They could have gone. The first 2 were toss-ups. I thought Prograis landed a couple better body shots, but yeah, Prograis was losing the story of the fight. Like you could see in the 5th round, Taylor figured some things out. He got back to moving, and Prograis couldn't get it anymore. And Taylor was having his way 5, 6, 7. I thought the 8th was close, 9th, 10th, all Taylor rounds. And then you saw Prograis, I don't want to say he got desperate, but may have gotten desperate in the 11th and 12th and kind of went for broke and had some success there. But in the eyes of the judges, if he didn't give them all 4 rounds, or the first 4 rounds, it was too little too late.
Yeah, I mean, I know Matt's gone now, so we can talk scorecards, but most of the judges had it 2-2 after 4 rounds.
And if you
that's how I had it.
If you had a 2-2, then you probably scored it for Taylor.
Yeah, I agree. I think so, because from about the 5th on, Taylor took a lot of the rounds.
After 4 rounds, the judge that gave it the 114-114 draw had Taylor 3-1 up after 4. So, but interesting.
Again, there's so many close rounds. I mean, you could give 8 and 9 to Prograis, and if you give him the last 2, what other round did that judge? You still got to find one more.
Well, the judge that gave it the 115-113, he had like Taylor winning the 12th, whereas all the other judges had Prograis winning that 12th. But
see, and here's the thing with like championship boxing, the rounds are always, the scorecards are always going to be close. Like they're always, and it's going to be so subjective as to what you like. If you like someone who comes out hot early in the round and then you don't maybe weigh as much toward the end of the round, and then the guy who was 117, 112, obviously is a guy who is going to score it for anyone who steals the last minute of a round, you know, because that's what Taylor really did the whole night. You know, like it's really hard to judge like a fight that is this close in skill level.
I mean,
that's the thing.
A lot of people said they had it a draw at the end of the fight. I've seen a bunch of people who had it a draw. And just so people know, had that been the outcome of the fight, it would have gone to the fourth judge who had it 116, 112 to Taylor. So that's how it would have been decided in that case.
It would have, though, it would have affected bookies and betting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It would have affected that, but that's beside the point. I don't really know exactly what you're getting to, but I think you're just, you guys are just talking about scorecards, how hard it is to judge fights like this. I'll even Spence Porter, right?
Bringing up about Gary giving Prograis the first 4 rounds, and I said most of the official scorecards had it 2-2. I said, and the judge that had it, I
think I had it 3-1, for example, after 4.
The one who gave it 113 to Taylor actually had Prograis 3-1 up, and the judge that had it a draw had he had it Prograis 3-1 up. Oh, I totally misread it a minute ago. I thought they had it 2-2. But
I think the first round is a clear, not a clear Taylor round, but it's close to a clear Taylor round. The next 3 rounds are close.
Gave Taylor. We were pretty easily like that.
One of the judges scored the first round for Prograis, which I did. It was really close. I thought Prograis landed the cleanest shot, and they traded jabs and body shots. So, you know,
but
this is why on the show I wasn't so like outraged by 117 or whatever it was. I'm not outraged, but I felt harsh. But we're here now discussing how close rounds were. So if he slightly went that way, he went that way. I'm not saying it's right, but this isn't like out of the realms.
But what we can say is that a 117, 111, right? I think that's what it was, right?
12. It was a 10-10 round.
Oh, there was a 10-10 round. Ooh, Santiago must be proud.
UK scoring.
UK scoring.
No, that was my paisan. That was the Italian judge.
Okay.
European scoring, to make it more general. But I will say this, that scorecard does not accurately reflect the close nature of this fight. And that's not a issue necessarily maybe with that judge's scorecard, but that's an issue with just the scoring criteria as it stands, maybe, or how the 10-point must system is working. Because, like you say, Rob, and like we've said, like if you like a certain thing, sometimes fights end up really wide when they shouldn't be. Yeah. And you can be objective and go, wait, that fight was close, but my scorecard's wide. And I think we've all had that at times, right? I think that's an issue with the scoring system. That is maybe not an issue with that individual judge, because like we've all said, like Josh Taylor winning isn't an issue. Like if anyone scored for Josh Taylor or even Regis Prograis, I don't think any of us have a real significant issue with that. It's when the scorecards don't reflect that this fight was ultra competitive and ultra close, and that is an issue with the scoring system.
Yeah,
and that specifically.
I said this to Phil in our chat that I would have felt had Prograis got the decision, I would have had a slight feeling of the wrong guy got the nod. I felt the right guy won the fight. Super close, but for me, had Prograis given it, I wouldn't be like robbery or crazy any talk like that. But for me, it wouldn't have just quite sat right as the winner, because I felt on the night Josh Taylor won the fight. So
but again, to rephrase my point, maybe because maybe you didn't understand, or people out there don't understand, just for the audience sake. I use this sort of framing when we talk about PD regulation, right? When we talk about Heather Hardy coming up, right? I always try to make it more of a macro topic, because when we talk about PD regulation, we're talking about systems and institutions and how they function, not necessarily one individual fighter in their individual case. You have to look at it as a system and how it functions and works in a totality, so to speak. With scoring, with judging, I try to do the same. You know, for individual scorecards that we've have had issues with, some of them you have to go look back and go, maybe they look at something individually in that fight and they like that period and they like it in all the fights. And that's an issue with, again, the scoring system and the system and institutions that make it work and how it functions. And if we tackle that, maybe we fix judging in boxing more so than getting pitchforks for a individual judge here and there. A la Adelaide Bird, a la who was the other one? CJ Ross? Was that the other one, right?
I got to meet Adelaide Bird when I was in Reno. Her husband reffed the fight that I was at, and I told her that she got the winner right in the Canelo Triple G fight in the first fight, which I think she did. I think Canelo won the first fight. So I said, hey, you got the right winner in that fight.
Gary over there with a hot take over here. Damn.
Buttering them up. No. Speaking of like those moments where you're like, oh shit, like when a punch connected, like the 5th round when Prograis got caught with that like right hook to the body and he kind of just like stumbled sideways a couple of steps. I was like, oh shit, that was a big shot, man. There were a few moments in that fight where I just didn't know how they both stayed up, you know? What a fight, man.
Gus Sandoval in the chat. Berg got one right finally.
Yeah.
But guys, moving on. Brief conversation about what's next for both guys here. Josh Taylor, what's next for Mr. Josh Taylor? Is it a voluntary defense in the UK against Lewis Ritson that's been rumored? I know Rob's shaking his head like, please no. I'm a Ritson fan. I don't want to see that.
No, I just want to say his team have poured water on that,
Good.
saying like
I wanted to ask a question real quick. Oh.
It's a backward step.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying. So
good. What did you say, Gary? Before you interrupted Rob so rudely.
Just real quick, the three of you. If you had to pick and I know Canelo might change all of this next week, but right now, through 10 months of the year, pick your fighter of the year. Is it fair to say it's Josh Taylor?
You can have Josh Taylor be your fighter of the year. I think that's perfectly fine to have. I think if Canelo goes up there and beats Kovalev, though, it's
everything.
It's clearly Canelo, in my opinion.
For sure, absolutely, it's Canelo. He beat Kovalev and Jacobs. It's
If Ruiz beats Joshua again,
that'd be up there too.
Yeah,
that'd be up there as well. I would say this: there's a lot of interesting options for fight of the year when it comes to December, probably.
Yeah,
especially if Andy wins that fight. That he instantly becomes a significant contender, and plus he probably has the more notable wins, right? If we're talking about anyone that's out there beating up someone that's being watched by tens of millions of people online, either via viral knockout videos or just on DAZN, Andy's being watched by a lot of people right now. That means something, especially when it comes to like ESPY awards, when it comes to those sort of fight of the year nominations.
What about the DAZN SPY award?
Stop.
Are they doing awards? Is DAZN doing awards?
I don't know. I'm just fucking around.
The zone beat. So bad. That was such a dad joke.
I think if we don't get the Ramirez Taylor fight, then we will have something stolen from us. I hope that happens quickly.
Now, obviously, both guys have mandatories. We have Ramirez, who has Victor Postal, and then Jack Catterall for his WBC and WBO mandatories coming up. I'm assuming he has to get both of those out of the way before he fights.
Check out the IBF one for Taylor.
I saw. I don't even know the person's name.
Try it.
Push all that shit to the side and just get the real fight on. That's
the Postal fight with Ramirez is close to done. They've delayed the purse bid yet again. I think the final thing of that is Wednesday, but they keep pushing it back. So suggestions are that it's close to done, right? So
I will say this very quickly, Gary, before you jump in there. I really don't want to see the Jack Catterall fight at all. I don't mind the Postal fight for Ramirez. I even don't mind, again, a Josh Taylor in between tune-up fight, because he just went through hell this year. So I really don't mind that. But summertime, they need a fight. They need to. Whether it's in Staples or in the UK, Ramirez and Taylor need a fight. I need that for my soul. Okay? Please, boxing gods. We're begging you here.
You just had a really good one for
you.
yourself.
But we need the number one. I want an answer.
Number one. He's got the Ring Magazine title.
Fuck the Ring Magazine. It's owned by Oscar De La Hoya. I don't care about that. So I need this fight, because this isn't like Beterbiev beating, or as we were corrected, Rob, Beterbiev as a Russian.
Because one person said so.
Hey, they were a Russian.
Were they?
I don't know. They had a Russian-looking name. But digressing from that, at least Beterbiev has most of the titles in the division right now. You don't have that here. It's evenly split, 2-2. I want that fight. Summertime, let's go. Wembley.
You wouldn't think they would have to take both the mandatories, right? Like at a certain point, unifications, especially undisputed unifications, are going to take precedence. Right?
Yeah, they can get somebody to step aside. They'll just pay them money. That's like what they would do, you know?
I don't know, man. Look, we've had weird situations here, man. A la Canelo, a la Tyson Fury, like Lomachenko now. Like, who knows? Franchise champion could come into it. A lot of shit could happen here where we don't get a true undisputed fight. And I'm not trying to put that negative energy out there into the universe, boxing God. So don't listen to me.
But if anyone's going to do it, Matt will do it.
Suleiman said it would still be undisputed. Suleiman said.
Okay.
He said so.
That's true. He said it. He said it. He also said that the franchise champion was in the championship, and then he said it was a championship. So, I mean, he said it, whatever that means. But Josh Taylor, again, Ramirez fight, that needs to happen next year, in my opinion. And again, next year.
He wants it.
Yeah.
And I believe he wants it. I mean, God, he's done is fought good competition for a while now.
His last 4 fights, right? It's Postal, Burnett, then he had Branchik, and then
he fought the blue chip fight.
Right?
He fought Charles Murray.
Charles Martin or Murray, Ryan Martin.
Ryan Martin. Sorry, I was thinking Burnett for some reason.
I like how Fu and Gary mixed up Ryan Burnett's name.
Yeah. Sorry.
With Ryan Martin.
Ryan Martin. My bad.
Let me give you some knowledge on.
But he had the O'Hara Davis fight. God, years ago now. That's what 2015, 16.
No.
2017 was it that?
Hang on.
When was the Davis fight?
Going to give you some. That was.
That started it. That started the run.
Listen, in 16 fights, Josh Taylor has faced opponents with a combined record of 282 wins.
I don't want that stat. That's a cool stat, but I want you to answer the question. I'll just answer for myself.
With 68 losses, 14 draws, 4 past or present world champions, and 4 undefeated boxers.
Here is who he fought, guys, because I know Rob did not answer what any of us were talking about.
No, Rob, he answered his own question.
I know he answered his own question. I know that.
He gave some propaganda piece to make Taylor look even better. It's like, that's not what I asked. It's like,
Gary, you asked on the show, should we be considering him for pound? I just told you what his fucking
digressing. Well, we wanted names and dates. He fought O'Hara Davis. Hold on. He fought O'Hara Davis in 2017. So I was wrong. It was actually much earlier. Not earlier. Later. Thank you. Than I expected. And then he fought Miguel Vasquez after that. And they fought
person to stop him.
Yes, which was a good, notable
good
fight.
Win. Yeah.
Winston Campos, which
I don't know who that is.
Late replacement.
It was, but that's and then Victor Post, Ryan Martin, Ivan Branchik, and then obviously Regis Prograis. So the guy's been on a run basically since 2017. And since you brought it up slightly, there, Rob, pound for pound, is Josh Taylor in our top 10 pound for pound guys?
Yep.
You make it our pound for pound.
Well, I mean, we can make it our. Right now on Mixed Combat Radio, just my pound for pound list, but
for me,
we can make it ours.
I've seen people arguing today, saying, "Well, if he's on it, Ramirez needs to be on it." It's like, well, no, this comes into it, right?
No.
Like who you beat is kind of important. I think I'm sticking with Beterbiev and like Josh Taylor. They've made a real case for jumping up into that top 10 pound for pound list for me. I think
it's interesting. Like if you put Triple G on your list, and there's probably not enough spots for Josh Taylor.
Triple G should not be in anyone's top 10 pound for pound list in 2019.
But like the Ring and ESPN still have him on their list. I don't think he should be because he hasn't beaten anyone in the last 2 years to make himself.
Yeah. We technically beat Derevchenko, but I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah, but Jacobs beat him better, right? You don't put Jacobs on your list.
I mean, if we're talking about like questionable decisions here, Triple G Derevchenko is a worse decision in my opinion than Prograis-Taylor. I'm being honest here.
What about Tyson Fury?
No, he's a heavyweight.
Wait,
What's
that didn't stop the athletic.
His last 3 opponents are 84-0.
Look, the names that are going to slip in that might bump Taylor out would be guys like Jose Tanaka, Juan Francisco Estrada, Artur Beterbiev.
Estrada's got to be on a pound for pound list. He's got to be in the top 10.
He-
I would have probably 7th.
If you
But he's
beat
gotta-
someone in the top 10 pound for pound, you should be in the top 10 pound for pound. Like, that's just logical
Yeah.
sense here. He beat
It is,
Circuits or
but
runs
then-
VI. He should be in the top 10 pound for pound, clear as day. To
Is
knock him in-
J-Rock is J-Rock on your pound
Why
for
would he?
pound
Why
list?
would he be in the top 10 pound for
No.
pound?
Most people. I'm not saying Matt. I know you
No,
did,
no,
but Fu did. I'm asking Fu really because you didn't have Hurd on your pound for pound list, right?
No.
I think
so.
I did
I
at
did.
one point. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I guess if you have to stay consistent, then maybe. But honestly, no. I mean, Hurd looked so bad in that fight.
And
I don't know. That's a tough thing.
And there was no reason to put Hurd in your top 10 pound for pound. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, if you
top
had
15,
Laura on your
top
if
15,
you had
yes.
Laura on your pound for pound list, like
Laura
I did,
shouldn't have been on your top 10 pound
Well,
for pound list.
I had Laura on my top 10 pound for pound list, and then
But if you had Canelo's brother on your list,
exactly.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
No, and
Yes.
here's the thing though, and this is like, as a boxing fan, you should understand heavyweights shouldn't be in your pound for pound list unless they've moved up from a different weight class.
I disagree with that.
That
take,
would
but
be
it's
the
okay.
only way. The literal definition of the pound for pound list was made because they were trying to come up with a system to give as much shine to lesser weight opponents. Like that was the reason.
But
Right.
I get that, but why couldn't? And I'm not saying he is, but let's take Wilder because there's really no Wilder fanboys in here. Why couldn't Wilder be pound for pound the best fighter in the world? Just why couldn't he be?
Because he doesn't have top 10 pound
No,
for pound.
I know,
skill.
but let's say he did. Let's say he beat everyone in the division, right? And he blew everybody out, a la Mike Tyson in the 80s.
Yeah, and I
right?
would say, well,
I would argue-
first up, Tyson didn't blow everyone out in the heavyweight division in the 80s. He just blew out some guys. Secondly, I will say this.
Undisputed.
Well, there was like 2 titles back then, bro. Like,
There was 3, but yeah.
the
IBF was
WBO,
out by then.
the IBF was not recognized universally.
Larry Holmes won it, and then Larry Holmes gave up the WBC, and then we don't need to get into that.
It wasn't recognized until like the late 80s, early 90s, wasn't it?
It was the mid 80s. It was Holmes.
Right.
The end
Never
of
mind. Never mind. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I forgot what I was going to say here now, Gary. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll get over
What were you guys saying? Because I was going to respond to one of you guys.
Oh shit! I'm so lost because someone just said Inoue hasn't beaten anyone. Like it just blew my mind, and I completely lost track of what the fuck we were talking about.
Look,
I mean, that's
look, just
we just go
stop.
to the next. That's something Name Redacted would say, right? You don't follow
Yes.
smaller weight classes than.
Look, Inoue's a top 5 pound for pounder. He's not even in the discussion of not being in the pound for pound list. He's in it. He's top 5.
Him and Canelo have the best resume in the sport. Like,
And Lomachenko, like him,
Usyk.
Loma, Inoue, Usyk,
Crawford.
Yeah,
Those are the top 5 guys. Like it's clear.
Wait. Inoue did what Canelo's about to do. Inoue jumped up 2 weight classes and beat Navarez, who was champion for like a decade. And I know he was old, but I mean,
So is Kovalev.
right? That's what I'm saying. Inoue kind of did what Canelo is trying to do.
And Inoue is doing it again and again in other weight classes. Sorry guys, if you don't think Inoue is in the top 5 pound for pound, then you're just crazy, and you're just not watching that division. Which is fine.
You could make an excellent argument. He's won.
You can.
He's probably 1 or 2 as soon as he wins this fight against and unifies the belt against Donaire. I mean, like legitimately,
which is coming up soon, right? It's a
Well,
Thursday.
I mean, especially with Usyk looking kind of bad at heavyweight. I mean, come on. And Loma being touched up a lot of lightweight. I mean, come on. Inoue is going up those pound for pound rankings easily.
Rob, do you think Usyk got touched up too much?
Let me make more jokes. And now we have Vajic losing. Like, the Ukrainians are struggling here, Fu. Like, that was your team, man. What happened here? Why are the Ukrainians struggling?
Team Ukraine.
Wait, am I Team Ukraine?
You're 100% Team Ukraine.
Yeah. What do they call themselves? Like when they merge the names together? And the 17, like Usyk, Loma have like a little like name, I think, or something. But
I didn't even know that. See, that's how I
think
know
they
you're
do,
part
yeah.
of the Ukrainian team, because you know they're like pet names for each other.
Aw, that's cute.
No, I'm sorry. I'm floored by the fact that like some people really do believe that Inoue hasn't beat anybody. Oh man!
If you don't follow,
if you
don't follow the smaller weight classes, you're gonna think that, right? Like I promise you, Name Redacted thinks that. I promise you that.
Oh no, they do.
Yeah,
but yeah, I got to go in like 10 minutes. So what were we even talking about?
I don't know. But Foo, since you have to go in 10 minutes, what do you want to talk about for the last 10 minutes?
Oh, where do Prograis-Taylor and Ramirez go from here? Like, obviously, we want to see them fight each other, possibly a rematch, but then 147, right? That's where we need to see them, and then that's a ridiculous weight class.
Absolutely.
Holy shit!
Let me tell you, Josh Taylor, Shane McGuigan has poured cold water on any move up to 147 for Taylor. He said his career 140 pounder was in that category at the amateurs. He's been doing it. If he goes up to 147, he loses his sizes, his advantages that he carries in at 140.
And then when all that money starts being offered to him to move up, he's gonna be like, "Man, McGuigan, shut the fuck up! All the money's up there. Let me go up there."
Just adding stuff to the show.
I know, but I think like that's a really bad idea from his team to even say that and think that. That's ridiculous. Plus, Taylor's a big 140 pounder. Like, he's bigger than Prograis. I would say in Prograis, we're talking about as being a big 140 pounder that needs to move up soon. I don't see Taylor being able to make 140 forever when he's in his 30s.
Josh Taylor is perfect for 147. I feel like he has the power, he has the length, he has the height. Like, he can fight inside well. Like, he's got a chin. I feel like he could go up there and test any of the 147. Now, I get why McGuigan would say that, because you don't want to rush it. I get it. You're 16 fights in. I'm not saying he needs to do it tomorrow, but by 20 to 22 fights, I mean, well, who's he going to be fighting at 140? Like Tank, once he moves up, and
Tank's not going to 140.
Obliterated by anybody. Yeah, come on.
I will say this though: if guys like Taylor, Ramirez, Prograis, obviously Hooker just moved up, Baranchik move up, even guys like maybe Raylick, others like. That division at 147 instantly gets infused with a bunch of talent, a bunch of depth, and I'm excited by that possibility in two or 3 years, maybe probably. But we definitely get the culmination of this first. We get Taylor, Ramirez before we ever get those guys moving up, in my opinion. Just being honest.
And I'm hoping a Prograis rematch. Like,
I agree.
Realistically,
I'd
want to see that.
I'll take it at 147 too. Like, if they fight in 2 years from now at 147. I'm okay with that. That's a fun fight.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't think Prograis is. I've met Prograis. Like, I've stood next to him. He's not the size of the other 147 pounders. Like, I think his best bet is to stay at 40. I don't think he's got the size to go up to 140. The guys at 40.
He's a dude.
Are big.
He's bigger than Crawford, man. In terms of size, he's bigger than Crawford.
Yeah, but Crawford's tall. Crawford's a lot taller than him.
Not really. They're around the same height. One's like what, 5'7", 5'8", one's 5'9".
Is Crawford only 5'9"?
Yeah, Crawford's smaller than me.
I think Prograis just looks smaller because of the way he's built. Like,
he has small arms.
Yeah,
it's the small.
He's
arms.
got small arms and he's got
arms.
like heavy legs. Like, yeah, he's more compact.
Yeah, but trust me, he would move up to 147 just fine. I think that would be no issue. I mean, look at guys like Danny Garcia. Like, he moved up and ballooned up to be one of the bigger 147 pounders. But he wasn't really that big at 140 in that sense. He was always a relatively big guy, muscle clad guy, but he wasn't the biggest guy at 147. Now he kind of is. It's him and Spence are the biggest guys there. Clearly.
But like, Garcia is one of those guys that you don't really realize how big he is till you stand next to him, right? Like, he looks like a normal welterweight, and then you sit next to him, like, this guy's big, right? It's the same as Devin Haney. I never thought Devin Haney was that big till I stood next to him. Like, that guy's going to be a full-blown welterweight within 2 years. I mean, I don't know how that guy makes 135. He was bigger than Prograis. Like, he's a big dude. He's now I know why Tanahara didn't want to fight him.
Well,
yeah. Did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear that? Yes.
I don't know if any of you guys had this thought, but the whole fight, when kind of like once Taylor really started to settle in and like bully him, I thought, damn, how good, like, he's already great at 140, Prograis is, but if he could make 135, holy shit, like, he would be destroying everyone. Like, that's what I was thinking the whole time, is like, he's like tailor made for, like bullying like 135 and 140. But yeah, it'd be cool. I don't know if he ever fought there, but I think he fought heavier.
Who, Prograis?
Yeah, I think he fought heavier, right?
Did, yeah.
But Prograis just stay at 140, right? He's really good at that weight. as long as he could make it, like just stay there and dominate that weight class. I'll Costa Zoo.
And he's gonna have good competition moving up. Like Haney will come through there. That'll be good fights for him.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I think Prograis. There might be a benefit to just leaving the division now, letting Taylor and Ramirez finish it up, and then already be at 147 when those guys move up. Because then you're gonna have momentum in that division when they don't. There's a value to that to sort of jumping the gun before these other guys do, and creating a name within that money division before Taylor and Ramirez, who are in theory better than you, before they get that jump on you. I think Prograis should angle for that Crawford fight next, to be honest. Like, that should be the next thing on his mind.
I think there's a big difference. Like, there's only 7 pounds, but at 147, I don't know. There seems to be like something that changes. Like, Hatton was great, phenomenal at 140. He didn't do anything at 147.
Rob's like, yes, I'm remembering it right now. Flashbacks.
Like Zab Judah, Paulie Malignaggi, those guys were excellent 140 pounders. At 147, they were kind of like, eh.
Yeah, but that happens, you know? Like, look at, like, Danny Garcia even. Like, he had a great 140 run. 147? Not the greatest, but not bad. And I think Prograis is going to be not the greatest, but definitely not the worst. He's going to be a perennial top 10 guy at 147. He's going to make more money, have bigger and better fights there. It's just the way to go. 140 is an in-between division. Like,
Crawford needs those guys, too.
We are lucky that this current crop at 140 is, like, an actual developed division, guys. Because that's, like, never happened before in this division's history. Like, this is a rarity for 140 to have this much depth, this much talent, all these undefeated guys. It's not normal. And I think in a year or so, this well is going to dry up because, again, it's an in-between division. 147 and 135 are the bigger divisions.
Shane Mosley skipped 140 altogether.
Yeah.
He took a catchweight fight and then went to 47. He fought like 144 and then went to 147.
Yeah, it's just not worth, I think, Prograis to stay here. Same with Taylor. Like, I don't think these guys have long-term plans for this division because this division naturally doesn't have long-term plans for it. 147 does.
Hey, that's it. Lomas. That's Usyk Loma together. Lomas 17, baby.
Usyk
yeah, that's it.
Loma makes
Lomas. Yeah,
did you
that's what they go
hear
by.
how giddy Fu was for that?
Yeah, dude, I was so stoked. Thank you, 47. Hey, one thing that I wanted to say before I go is how underrated Josh Taylor's defense and movement is. Oh my goodness. He blew me away with his ability to just control distance and his like everything that he did. Like he threw Prograis off so much. Like I thought he was going to be very hittable for Prograis, but there were just moments where I was like, man, he's just a phenomenal boxer. Like it's crazy.
Fu, do you have to run now? Because it's.
I do.
All right, Fu. You can find Foogatti at Foogatti MCR, all social media platforms. Thank you, Fu. I know you had to jump on and just leave early, but thank you for jumping on as much as you can.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'll be on if you want to do some MMA stuff or something later or whatever.
Ooh. We do need to talk some MMA content, so maybe some Ben Askren.
Yeah,
you know, debates and how he's completely overrated and trash.
Yeah. All right. I'll see you guys later.
See ya.
See you later, blurry ass.
Yo, I can't believe Gary has better internet than Fu.
Yeah, but Gary's got that sepia lighting going on.
That sepia lighting, yes. Yes, that's good.
Well, I don't even know what that is. CPL lighting?
No, sepia.
I still don't know what that is.
You're not on IG, obviously, with the filters. Or Snapchat, Rob.
Okay.
Or Snapchat, Rob.
Okay, yeah. I don't mess with the filters. I know what you're talking about now.
No,
I don't.
Your light bulb's older than me. Are you a smoking household?
No, man, that's all like U.S. natural lighting right there. All the built-in lights are that crappy. Like if I just had my like natural fan on and that like that light on, whatever, it look just like Gary's, if not worse. But let's talk about the co-main event: Derek Chisora versus David Price. Chisora defeats Price via TKO in the 4th round. Rob, thoughts on the performance of Derek Chisora and what it could lead to next?
I felt Chisora had done what he had to do, but I mean, I picked Chisora. I felt he was going to do exactly what he did, just bully Price, and to me, Price looked like a bit of a rabbit in the headlights. And for me, it's all about confidence with Price. And despite talking it, I don't think he was particularly I don't know, that high in his confidence. He has
it's
said
short notice.
he said since he was very flat, he wasn't like on his game or anything like that. I don't know. I think it's very much a mental thing with Pricey, and I don't think he was in the right sort of frame of mind. And I think his corner knew that. He said, I know people have said, well, the bullshit, the corner throwing the towel in, but he said he was on. He was very buzzed, and he was sort of on Queer Street, and he just didn't necessarily look it to people. I don't think that they maybe thought, look, he got up, he seemed to be, all right, and they threw in the towel. But he was done. I think it just saved him from potential, more harm. So, but Derek Chisora moves on. He still wants the Parker fight. David Haye wants him to take the Usyk fight, which might be for the vacant WBO. Who knows? But Chisora also wants to be on the Joshua card. He's told Price, no need to retire. You could go out and get yourself a Lucas Brown fight. Don't worry about it. To which Lucas Brown has said, I would love that fight in the after Christmas. So we might see Price versus Lucas Brown. But I do think Derek said it as a way of sort of like, yeah, you don't need to retire. You can fight guys like Lucas Brown. So and then for Lucas Brown to comment, yeah, I'd love that fight. It's like, yo, I was kind of,
dissing you.
Complimentary. And you've gone, yeah, I'll have that.
That would be a good fight, though. I would actually take a Price Brown fight. That would, all the fights to take at this point. If Price does not retire, that's the fight I would take. But digressing to Chisora.
I want to get on that real quick,
okay.
right? Like,
Okay,
it's a
Gary.
good fight. It's a fun scrap, right? But come on, Lucas Brown, find another way to make a living. Like, you keep getting your brains knocked out. Come on, like, go open up a gym and train some kids. Just like this, or go get this is too brutal. I can't keep watching you get knocked out like this.
So good. I do agree that I think Price should retire. Like I'm not a fan of seeing Price get bludgeoned more and more. I don't see value in it at this point in time, to be quite honest.
I mean, look, initially, apparently when he was approached to step in for Parker, he was like, I don't know. And he said he thought the phone call might come. So he said, I'm not going to say, look, I'll step in. I'll let them call me. Then, I've got some sort of leverage to get the deal. But I believe, listening to him, he might have got another fight as part of this, stepping in to help save the show kind of thing. So he's made good money. He couldn't turn it down, got himself a good deal. Plus, I think there's another fight as part of this contract. So we'll see.
Again, Lucas Brown, probably the best matchup for that. But Chisora, let's talk about Chisora because obviously he won the fight. I will say this. He did look a little bit older in this matchup than like the Takam fight, for example. Like he looked slower. He looked a little more sluggish. I'm not, as a guy that is in his late 30s, it's just something to be concerned about for a guy that is Jared Chisora with his, length of career, his age. Age is an issue to look at going forward. But obviously, he is now lined up for some big fights. A Joseph Parker rematch, or not rematch, but rescheduling, I should say. Alexander Usyk for a WBO vacant title has been talked about via Eddie Hearn. What are we thinking here for Chisora? Like, what would be the path that you guys recommend to him? Rob, Gary?
I would say Usyk. That's if he can beat Usyk, he becomes, I would think, the WBO #1 mandatory. And it's like Matt.
Well, no. Again, the theory is that via Eddie Hearn specifically is that the WBO is going to strip the winner of AJ Ruiz no matter what.
I got you.
And that Usyk would fight for the vacant belt against Chisora.
Then you got to take that, right? Because you have an unproven commodity at heavyweight, at least in Usyk. Let's take the Witherspoon thing with a grain of salt, right? Witherspoon. I'm the guy's biggest fan. I'm just saying he's unproven as a heavyweight.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you. I'm just not the one saying it right now.
So, I mean, obviously he's a...
Rob, what happened, Rob? Rob didn't want to take the Usyk shit talking anymore. Keep going, Gary. Just keep going.
That's the fight. If Chisora is anything, he's a big, strong, hard-hitting heavyweight. I mean, maybe he can crack his chin. we saw, and I'm glad we can say that Rob's not here. He got touched up against Witherspoon. Witherspoon certainly landed shots on him. So, I mean, if you're Chisora saying, I'm better than Chaz Witherspoon, if he put hands on him, if I put those kind of hands on him, I'll knock him out. So if you're Chisora, you probably have confidence in that fight at this time. So I would say that's like
Gary, hold on. Put your phone on silent. Come on. What are you doing? What are you doing here? Oh, Rob's back, guys.
What the fuck happened there?
I don't know, man. I thought you would know.
Contact our support team. Like you've been disconnected from something, and then it said something else. It was crazy.
Did you unplug your router from the wall?
No, Gary.
That's what I did.
I might do that later. I'll switch off this and turn it off and turn it back on again. Just like if Stephen Hawking gets sick.
That's really messed up and dark. Oh my God. Moving on.
Stephen Hawking. All right.
No,
you don't get the joke. Never mind. Moving on. Okay.
I don't.
Chisora. Okay, Chisora.
Are we still on Chisora? Okay.
Well, I don't think you ever gave an answer because you just left.
I don't know what the question is.
But like, if you were advising Chisora, would you advise him to take the Usyk vacant title shot potentially, or would you advise him to take the Parker fight?
I don't know. We're gonna have to. Like I say, he wants to be on the Saudi card, but which do you wait for? I personally, as much as I don't know, I'm not excited by a Parker fight. That's for sure, because Parker's not going to come to try and knock Chisora out. I don't think.
Well, neither is Usyk.
Huh?
Neither
definitely not Usyk. Yeah.
Neither is Usyk.
Usyk's going to grind you down. He's gonna like, I don't know, accumulation.
Okay.
Once he starts going through the gears.
I mean, Parker did almost finish Dylan White.
Yeah, but he had to at that point. He was losing.
I
don't even know why you're smoking. You're right. He tried. He nearly did at the end, but he had to at that point.
I just want to mess with you and bring up UK names, and
that's
all.
It's like when you text me at 6 o'clock in the morning that Mario Barrios is no good. It's like,
yes, that's so good, Rob. When you do that, that's the best.
Spencer's gonna lose. Barrios sucks. It's like, I haven't even had coffee yet. What's going on?
I haven't awake yet.
Yeah, you got to realize I've been up a while. I'm bored.
But digress from that.
I would say if there's a title shot, then go for you. Why wouldn't you go for a title?
We're all in agreement here that Chisora Usyk would be the fight to make, and
he told Usyk, stop juggling and dancing. That's for the circus. This is boxing.
Lunatic is saying Chisora isn't ranked with the WBO, but come on, man, that won't be an issue. It's the rankings. Trust me, not an issue.
Well,
if next month you see Chisora in their rankings, don't be surprised, guys, and see him high as well. Don't be surprised.
But you still have to outpay Arum for that spot, though, right? Because Arum and Frank Warren usually control the 1 and 2 spot, so it's not a problem. You can do it, but you have to open up you have to open up your wallet.
Yeah, you have to outpay Frank Warren.
It can be done, but it can get costly.
Look at this. Okay. If we're going to go by the current WBO rankings, this is as of the 24th of October. Okay.
Okay.
So you got, obviously, Ruiz is a champion. He's fighting Joshua, who's number 3 in their rankings at the moment. So the winner of that, okay, so get stripped. That leaves, obviously, Usyk can face either Tyson Fury, Joseph Parker's at 4, Kaunaki is 5, Dubois is 6.
Oh, that's not a bad matchup.
Junior Farr, Michael Hunter 8.
No, it went huge drop off.
Quick. Yeah.
Wait.
Junior Farr, he's another one. Oh,
wait.
Did he just lose, or like he almost lose? Like,
wait.
Okay, I'm waiting.
Romanov is 9.
Who?
Tom Schwartz back in at number 10.
Oh my God.
Carlos Takam. I don't even know who that is. Ajit Kabayal. Jermaine Franklin is just propping up the 15 at the moment. But
how is Junior Fa and what was the other name you mentioned before? Takum. That was really bad. Oh, Schwartz.
Tom Schwartz and Romanov.
How are those guys ranked above guys like Carlos Takum and Daniel Dubois? Like how? Like how is that possible?
because Takam signed with LaGuardia, so they didn't have enough money to buy him a higher spot.
No, that's I know why, but I mean, like, it's more rhetorical. Like, I'm just yelling at the sanctioning bodies, like, why are you guys this blatantly just bad? Because, like, the first 5 or so were decent. You know, like Fury, Parker. Like, I'm okay with those matchups. And if we had to get, look, in a world where a sanctioning body strips a champion that does not deserve to be stripped, which happens far too often, if we get a Usyk Fury fight as for the vacant strap, I think everyone's okay with that, largely speaking. Like, that's still a good fight. Like, yeah, it's for a vacant strap. That fucking sucks. We should criticize that. But we still get a good fight out of it. Same with Usyk Parker even, right? This issue with just the sanctioning bodies stripping people for no reason just goes beyond this matchup and this individual situation. Like, this is just a continual issue of theirs.
I just don't see why, like, the sanctioning bodies just can't rank the best guy. Like, who's the best heavyweight without a belt? It's Fury. Who's the next best? White or Ortiz? Like, why can't those be your top 3? Like, why do they have to play this ridiculous game where they rank absurd people in random spots? It's like they just pull names out of a hat and says, you're ranked 1.
Well, I know you know why. But
I know why.
For the audience, this is how it works. Because the sanctioning body needs to make money. How do they make money? Well, first off, you need to pay a sanctioning fee. You pay a certain sanctioning fee per your ranking to be in the sanctioning body. If you don't pay that sanctioning fee, you're not ranked. You're not the champion. So that's how they make money.
That was for the WBO Continental title, so that's got him a ranking anyway, right? Straight away.
Who?
Chisora. That fight with Price was somehow made a WBO.
Oh, Rob over here with Sherlock Holmes over here, Rob. I like it.
Let me look it up, see what it is, and what does that mean?
It probably means nothing. Like the franchise champion. It means a lot, but means nothing at the same time. Why are you looking that up? Any last thoughts on Chisora Price? Because we have a lot of topics to get to, guys. Holy shit. And we've been talking about Prograis-Taylor a lot, which they deserved. It was a great fight.
You know, Derek Chisora, he's like Madonna, keeps reinventing himself.
We should end it on there. Yes, that's the perfect way to end the Chisora topic.
And it was for the WBO Intercontinental Heavyweight title. So.
Yes, the vacant one, by the way, guys. Makes a zero difference for a bullshit title. Lee Selby loses. Oh, sorry. Lee Selby beats Ricky Burns via unanimous decision. Majority decision. There was one draw scorecard. Ricky Burns had a really good fight here. He just couldn't cut off the ring, to be honest. If he cut off the ring, he would be more efficient in this fight. He would have won the rounds more clearer, and he would have probably won this fight. Lee Selby was able just to get outside enough, use the lateral movement enough that I think that the judges liked that. But honestly, I thought Ricky Burns did some really good work here, and arguably could have even won a decision here. I didn't score this fight, but I was thinking Ricky Burns was winning this just because Lee Selby was not doing a lot, in my opinion. Though Lee Selby did have a better second half fight than he did in the first half. We'll definitely give him that credit.
That's if you gave somebody early rounds to Selby, and I didn't score it either.
Yeah.
But I thought Burns won the first half and Selby won the second half. But I thought Selby won like all the second half rounds. Now Burns may have won all the early rounds, but if you gave some of those to Selby, Selby probably wins the fight.
Yeah, a real shame. IFL done an interview with him. He was
Burns.
Ricky Burns was a bit upset, and it was emotional. He's saying I thought I just did enough, but for me, I didn't actually score it, but you just felt Burns was kind of a little bamboozled. He couldn't quite close the distance, or he couldn't land anything significant and really get about his work because Selby was a little slick, and I believe I was the only one that picked Selby as well out of the panel. So
which I thought I was going to be the only one picking Burns, and then Matt picked him too.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm really worried about this Kovalev Canelo pick coming up, guys. I'm really concerned about
I got my pick.
I still don't. I'm on the fence still, guys. I'll be honest.
Wait till I pick.
You want to? Because I'm going counterintuitive. I'm picking the opposite of what I actually think to see if that works out this time.
No, don't do that, Gary. That never works. Trust me, that never works.
He kind of did that with Prograis-Taylor. I've picked Prograis, but I think it's probably going to be Taylor. I said, so you're You think one, but picking the other? That's okay.
I went back and forth on that so much. I
know.
had to pick someone, and you could see why. It was a 50-50
That's
fight.
the difference. That's the difference. I'm a UK guy. Went with the UK guy.
Yeah, the bias. Talking about UK fighters, Lawrence Sokola picked up the win. Good for him. Any other thoughts on the undercard, guys?
Oh my god. Yeah, no, I thought Coley was a little improved, and he's just got to somehow shake this this as soon as a fight announced with a Coley that everyone goes, oh fuck. So there's room for improvement, but he's learning on the job, and he done the business, got another knockout, another win, another bout, whatever. But yeah, still room to improve. Conor Benn, done his thing as well. Impressive, quite brutal knockout. Who else on the card? Shannon Courtney, tested.
Me and Rob did have videos for was it the Coley one as well?
Yeah,
those are going to be put out. Don't worry, they're still there. So
I'm not worried.
If you want to get more of my thoughts on these fights, the videos will come out soon.
I'm not worried because one of them is take 2.
You spoiled it. Don't spoil it.
That's funny. Shannon Courtney got a win. She was tested. The girl, she just came at her. She was like a poor woman's pursuit. She was just throwing hands constantly, and Shannon Courtney had to get about her work and box pretty well. She done all right, but it was a test. But yeah, she's only like 4-0, so that's good. Amo Williams got a unanimous decision. Who else was on the card? Can't think, but no, it was a good night. It was a good night of boxing, and obviously the main event was just worth the pay-per-view money for me anyway, 100%.
Moving on, I think we're all in agreement that was a good main event, and the rest of the card, while it had some highlights, maybe wasn't the best, to be honest. It delivered at times, but it was kind of just the main event overshadowed it completely. It's just by default. Moving on, Shakur Stevenson picking up a vacant title with a win over Joet Gonzalez, and man, did he just dominate Joet Gonzalez from bell to bell. Like this was clinical. Like this was Christopher Diaz's performance again, right? Where he just went into second gear and was able to evade all of these shots, was able to just pick apart his opponent to the body, up top, consistently all night. And the sky's the limit for this guy. Like honestly, I think the talent within Shakur Stevenson is undeniable at this point in time. Like he's clearly one of the top 3 prospects in the game, period, overall. And now that he has a belt, it's kind of weird to call him a prospect, but I'll be honest, I still want to call him that because he has yet to beat anyone in the top 10, even with the vacant belt around his waist now. But the guy clearly has true championship. I know this is a championship, but true championship talent within him. And obviously, we're going to talk about the Josh Warrington fight in a bit, but I'm salivating over that matchup. Like that is a perfect boxing matchup between 2 different styles that contrast perfectly. Plus, we talked about this, right, Rob, with the Prograis-Taylor fight. It's a U.S. versus UK fight. We always get up for those in this community. So that fight to me needs to happen within the next 6 months, 9 months. Like it just needs to. Like he doesn't need a tune-up or in-between fight. Speaking of Shakur, this was it. Sorry. Like I know this was for a vacant belt and this was supposed to be a big step up, but this was an in-between fight in a way. Go fight for a real belt and a real championship, in my opinion, against Josh Warrington.
He wants to now because he says he wants to be the youngest unified champion or whatever it is, whatever the technicality is. But there's some record to be broken, I think, if he was to unify next or something.
But guys, thoughts on Shakur's performance?
It was
really good. Sorry, Gay. You can go more in depth as the American, but I thought he boxed really great. This is the thing, where there's some hypocrisy sometimes or whatever, because he boxed fantastic, looked great, but I don't know. It wasn't exciting.
It wasn't entertaining. Of course it wasn't.
Yeah.
He's not an entertaining fighter, I would say.
It's just when others have done it, I've been a bit, he boxed amazing, and been a little bit more wowed by it. But yeah, look, for a kid of such a young age, I thought he was just on point and poor Jowett fighting for the family name or whatever all this bullshit has been.
So much bullshit, by the way.
He couldn't, he just couldn't get it together. I think he did get around maybe somewhere, might have been out of pity, but no, Shakur put on a clinic, and we'll see about this Warrington matchup. I believe there's contact, and
we're gonna talk about that in a second, but just isolate the fight first, and then talk about the Warrington fight. Because I think we all want that fight, right? We all do. Like, that's a matchup I think we're all thinking about now, that it's been mentioned a lot now from both sides. But Gary, since you were with me at obviously the immediate reaction show, now a couple days after the fight, any new thoughts about the matchup from what you saw? Any new takeaways overall from Shakur Stevenson as a fighter? Thoughts overall on the performance of Shakur?
Yeah, defensively and professionally, he's there. Like I always he hadn't beaten anyone. He beat Diaz, and he looked great beating Chris Diaz. But Diaz had, I guess he only lost the one time before that, right? Okay,
yeah, but that's a really good one.
That's a really good one. But I thought Gonzalez was going to be a good challenge. Not that Gonzalez would win, but I thought he would win rounds, make him work, take him into deep waters, and it was none of that. I mean, it was a clinic. Yeah. It was a defensive clinic. Now, the only thing I would say is you're going to get the haters, the PBC fanboys that hate Top Rank, going to say it was boring. You know that's coming. You know that's coming. I mean,
well, look, Shakur's going to be in the same sort of narrative or deal with the same hate that guys like Demetrius Andrade deal with, guys like Pernell Whitaker dealt with, even guys like Floyd Mayweather dealt with. Defensive fighters always deal with that criticism.
But he opened up on Diaz. He still fought off the back foot and stuff, but he opened up and tagged him,
Maybe more so than this fight, I will give you that, but it was marginal, I would say. He opened up a lot more in the fight before that and actually got the finish, right? And we were talking about how Shakur is getting that man strength now, right?
Yeah.
I will say this, though. Similar to my criticism of Andrade, when you're outclassing someone this clean, step it up. Go in that third and fourth gear when you can, because you can. Shakur could have probably got a finish here if he really went for it. Because look, Joel Gonzalez was completely demoralized. He was in the corner saying, I can't do anything in there. I can't do anything. He's not tired. I can't do anything. And his family is yelling at him to do something. He's like, I can't do anything, guys. That guy was completely demoralized. All Shakur had to do was, instead of going back, go forward, go to the body, and press him. And Joel Gonzalez would have quit, honestly.
Probably, right? And Floyd probably could have stopped Canelo if he wanted to, but why risk it? If everything's going my way.
No. Bad comparison here.
Why do you think that's a bad comparison?
Canelo had beaten Austin Trout before Mayweather, my dude.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Joel Gonzalez is literally, no offense to Joel Gonzalez, but he hasn't beaten anyone. He was a guy that got hyped because Top Rank hyped him up. Let's be honest.
My point was why if everything's going your way and this guy can't hit you?
Well, no. I understand why the fighter won't, but look, this is when your corner should be telling you this is the time to step it up. That's when the trainers come in, because the fighter naturally won't. Because you're right, he's in control, he's dialed in, everything's working, he's not going to hit, he's not going to go out of that comfort zone. Fighters naturally go within their comfort zone. So you're right about that. But that's when his trainer should yell at him and go, I think it's his grandfather, right? That's his main cornerman that's talking to him. He should be in there in his face going, look, kid, you need to go in there and get a finish. Go out there with some excitement. You're putting on a clinic. You're outboxing, great, but we need some eyeballs on this. You need to get a highlight reel on ESPN. Let's go. And he could have. And that's it's a small criticism because to me, it's not a big one. I think some people might take it as a big criticism. To me, it's not. But it is something that I think defensive fighters can work on. When you are clearly outclassing a guy in that nature, step it up because you can. And I know you don't want to. You don't feel like it's not natural to you. But that's, again, when your corner should step in and go, hey, step it up. You can. You can get this guy out of here. You can hurt him. Go for it.
I just hope he stays at 126 long enough for Figueroa to move up.
Man, that would be such a good fight. But speaking of good fights that are happening next, let's talk about the Josh Warrington fight coming up next, guys. Or at least, in theory, it might come up next. Bob Arum says that he wants to make Stevenson-Warrington next in the UK in the spring. Exact quote from Bob Arum. I'm going to call Frank and see if we can get the O2 Arena and do it over there, Arum said. I mean, there's neutral officials. Lomachenko made a big hit over there with Campbell. The place was packed. The fans are great. I mean, where else am I going to put Stevenson where we're going to do 18,000 people? The ring is the same, right? I think that, first off, good on Aaron to say this because I think that's smart to be at least somewhat aware that, hey, Shakur can't sell 18,000 seats in the U.S. At least not yet.
Conlon, Madison Square Garden, St. Patrick's Day.
Not even that, I would say, to be honest. It would do well, but that wouldn't break 12,000 in the big theater. No, it wouldn't. We're talking about U.S., man. Like, it's different.
You're going to get a lot of Irish fans there. I'm not saying Shakur's not going to have to sell all 18,000 because Conlon's going to bring in the Irish fan base on St. Patrick's Day, why you put them together. I think you get 15,000 or more.
Look,
yeah, but that's Irish people for Conlon.
Yeah.
And again, you would probably make, I don't know. It would be hard to tell because, like, I don't think it does 18,000 MSG. I don't think Shakur Conlon does. I think it does 12,000. I think it does 10,000. Crawford and Felix Diaz, a fighter versus Dominican, wasn't able to do above 8,000, 10,000 at MSG. Like, it's hard to sell there unless like you are just that guy. And Shakur has not been proven to be that guy. Neither has Michael Conlon. They've done well in the small theater. So if you want to do that again and sort of up it to 4,000 and 5,000 and just up the ticket price, all right. But look, you're going to make more money and you're going to have more eyeballs in front of you and more attention having that Josh Warrington fight in the O2 and sell 18,000 plus tickets. And guess what? It's a bigger fight. It's more important. It then legitimizes Shakur in a way that this fight did not, let's be honest. Shakur needs to fight a champion. He needs to fight a champion. Let's just be honest about it.
I agree with like what you're saying, right? And typically after a young fighter wins his first title, he gets a victory lap. But you're saying this was the victory lap. Now go fight some. Okay, I mean,
because it was
I get what you're saying. I get the argument. Yeah,
for Warrington, it's the same for Warrington. He now needs a unification. We can't keep finding people out the IBF rankings for Josh Warrington to fight now. He's desperate for a unification. He told Shakur, go and get yourself a belt. And he's done that. So game on. And I'm glad Bob wants to do it over here. Interestingly, he's chosen London and not Leeds. Otherwise,
you may not know.
Well,
it's Bob. He's 89, 90 years old, smoking a lot of weed. I mean,
look, like he said, he's been to the O2. He saw the crowd there for Loma Campbell. But if he wants to see an extra special atmosphere, then take it to Warrington's hometown and do it in Leeds because that will be interesting.
And you can go to like sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Then you can go to like a 35,000 seater, right? There's that
the Ellen Road Leeds football stadium. So
you can get double that amount probably with the Shakur Stevenson Josh Warrington fight. I mean, Shakur he shows it slightly, but he can sell a fight when needed. And I think
he'll sell a fight, especially with Warrington, especially when if it's over here,
UK media,
because it'll be obviously open to the public. They'll be getting on his back. We'll see what Shakur's made of then, because he'll either bite back or he'll get a little bit holy shit and do like
it's too much.
Yeah, wow, this is different
because he won his title in Reno, Nevada, guys, against Joette Gonzalez. Like we have to keep it in comparison here, in respect here.
I personally feel it could be a mistake in a way because he is so young and it will be a very hostile thing. But if he's the real deal, then we also find out about him in that regard as well. So it's for me, it's maybe a calculated risk, but I don't know. I would try and get Warrington that side of things, but it's probably bigger here. So
and even if he loses, like we see with guys like Canelo, like if you have the push behind you, if you have a promotional company behind you, a network behind you, and plus you're talented, you have the talent to rebound and rebuild, you can do it. Especially if you're young enough and you take that loss early, that's no problem. And actually might even do you some benefit. Like I might make the argument that Canelo losing that Mayweather fight was a net positive for Canelo. Obviously Canelo winning the fight would do far more for him, but him losing the fight was still a net positive because he fought Floyd Mayweather at 21 years old.
Which was the biggest fight revenue-wise ever at that time, right? He obviously learned. It didn't do as many pay-per-view buys as the De La Hoya fight, but it was $75 as opposed to $50. So it did more revenue.
Did more gross revenue. I don't know about in terms of if you adjust for inflation, if it did more. But in terms of gross revenue, I think you're absolutely right. And with Josh Warrington, obviously it's not a Floyd Mayweather fight, but then again, it's the featherweight division, so there's no Floyd Mayweather analog in this division in the entire history of this division. So that's just not going to exist. But losing to a legit world champion like Josh Warrington, who has a ton of respect from the boxing community at a young age, as 21 years old, is probably still a net positive for Shakur. Because I think he still has the talent to rebuild and rebound from that loss if he were to lose. But I don't think he loses that fight, being honest. Seen Kid Galahad arguably beat Josh Warrington, just outboxing him. And Shakur Stevenson's a better boxer than Kid Galahad. Maybe it's a bad matchup for Josh Warrington. Just saying. Throwing out that hot take there. I'm preliminary.
Shakur Stevenson's going to be a bad matchup for a lot of people. Like, I'm just saying, like, not too many people are going to look good against. Like, I really shined against Stevenson. Like, that's not.
Who do you think looks good against Josh Warrington though, with his pressure? As I'm just saying that, you know, equally people might not look good against Shakur, but who's really shone against?
No one has. But if
I didn't make my pick. I'm just saying no one's going to look good against Stevenson.
I just asked you a question.
You were afraid.
I'm going to answer Rob's question. There are two people that will look good against Josh Warrington. Okay? We haven't seen them yet because you said who has. So I admit that no one has looked good against Josh Warrington. He's undefeated, obviously. But Gary Russell Jr. and Shakur Stevenson have the style, the antithesis to Josh Warrington's game. Absolutely. Guys like Leo, though, would maybe beat, obviously he's not at 126 anymore, but let's imagine he was still. He could beat Josh Warrington, but he wouldn't look good just because of the style matchup. Those are both inside fighters, both throw a lot of punches. That's going to be a slugfest for 12 rounds, right? So neither guy's going to look good there. But if you have a true style disparity between fighters, that's when you're more likely to get someone looking good and someone not looking good, potentially.
I don't know. We'll see. Like I say, I'm like Gary. I'm not making my pick off the bat.
Make
saying,
huh? Preliminary picks. Come on, guys. I'm not going to hold you to it.
I'll say Warrington, 100 mile an hour is too much for Shakur Stevenson to try and finesse his way to a decision.
Gary, what's your preliminary pick?
Stevenson dominates second half of the fight, wins a close decision.
I'm sorry. I'm such a troll. Anyways.
Once he gets past the initial pressure, he'll make a miss. Warrington will slow down, and he'll win the last 4 or 5 rounds. Pot shot him off the back foot.
All right, we didn't need the fight story, just your prediction.
Fucking test you over there.
Then you had to do the puckle gun soundbite after every time Gary talks, right? Is that what that was?
Co-main event on the card was Joshua Greer Jr. defeating Antonio Nieves via controversial decision. This was bad. Now obviously the scorecards weren't too bad here. They weren't like, what was the other fight that I'm trying to think of? That was a 100.
That was Granados and Easter.
We're gonna get to that one in a second. Wow, what a bad scorecard. And that judge did that twice, by the way. That night, I want to say he scored like 2 fights, like clear. One person won every round. But Joshua Greer Jr. defeating Antonio Nieves, again, controversial decision. Nieves definitely lit up Greer numerous times. And Greer he had no game plan, it seems. Like, you're just in there just sort of reacting to whatever Nieves was doing, sort of just flowing with the rhythm of the fight, not implementing his own strategy, not implementing his own style, so to speak. He was not leading the fight, and I think he needs to be. It's another one of those showings from Joshua Greer where I have not seen improvement. And I think we've clearly seen that he's hit a ceiling. But it was a fun fight, but I do think it was a little bit controversial in terms of who should have won this. Guys, thoughts?
I didn't score it. And I'm a big Greer fan. I'm like Greer's biggest fan. I thought he was like so on my radar coming up. Matt's right. There's no, like, he's not getting better. Like, the natural abilities, the athleticism, the speed, the power, the reflexes, it's all there. But like, there's no game plan. I don't know. He used to be with George Hernandez. Maybe go back to him or just try another trainer, because there's way too much talent and ability for him to struggle like this 2 fights in a row.
And against Antonio Nieves, who's not a bantamweight, who's a super flyweight. And a guy that is long in the tooth in terms of like flyweight age, right?
It's a good opponent, but that's what it is. It's an opponent. You should beat him, and you should look good against him. He should go rounds, and he went rounds with Inoue, right? He should go rounds and be durable and make you work, but you should beat him and beat him convincingly.
And he didn't, and that's
he didn't.
It's an issue. Michaela Mayer picking up a win as well against Alejandra Zamora. I think she also struggled here in a similar story of Joshua Greer. Again, Michaela Mayer, clearly talented, right? Clearly has a very high basement, right? Her base level of skill and talent is very high. However, her ceiling...
Wait. Go back. What? Has she got a high ceiling or a low back? What's the basement ceiling?
Well, I mean, I messed up when I corrected myself right away.
Oh, I didn't hear the correction. I was like...
I said she has a high basement, but I misspoke the first time I said she has a low basement.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't... I've not heard someone having a high basement.
Well, yeah, high ceiling, high basement. That's what you're talking about. Or high floor,
right.
Floor, ceiling, whatever terms you want to use. But definitely I would say Mayer's base level of ability is high. However, I don't think she's improved in any of her fights, really. And that's an issue for me. Because clearly she's talented and skilled, but she was talented and skilled from the amateurs, and she hasn't developed at all in her pro career, really. She's had 12 fights now. I see the same setups, the same punches, the same strategy. The only thing she really tried to improve in this fight was her aggression level. She tried to be far more aggressive in this fight, so credit to her for that. But her technique wasn't improved at all, and that is an issue long term, when she's going to probably move up in weight to 135 soon, face Katie Taylor in the next couple years. That's going to be a hard fight if you cannot make boxing adjustments mid-fight. And it seems that's her issue, that she just has one game plan, one strategy, one set of tactics, and that's all she does. And if that doesn't work, she just tries harder with that strategy. And that's not really how you do boxing. You have to have other strategies, other plans when one plan doesn't work. And she clearly only has one plan. Guys, any thoughts on Michaela Mayer's performance?
Yeah, she like Robert Easter in disguise, right? It's
Good comparison. I like that.
She doesn't use her attributes. She's tall as hell for the division, and yet she's fighting on these girls' levels, not skill levels,
but physically. She's physically going to their height, going to their range. No, you're right.
And I've watched her a few times. Early on, I was like, oh yeah, she's
good.
She's gonna be good, but I just don't see the rise. And I think it's maybe hard sometimes in the women's side of things, because there just isn't naturally that depth. I believe this opponent is kind of a name in that division, but it just, again, I'm not so hot on the women's divisions, knowing who all the names are, across the board in all the divisions, to know that this was a decent opponent. So it's difficult for me to really be that judgmental. But yeah, I just haven't seen significant improvements fight to fight. And maybe 135 is surely she can make 135, being as big as she is.
Well, yeah, she fights at 130 right now, so I mean, she would move up.
Yeah. So and despite popular opinion, Katie Taylor hasn't run away from 135 to duck all the smoke. The smoke's still there, and she wants it, so she's going to be coming back down. I did talk to a few people today, and they suggest this next fight coming up for 140, she's probably just going to weigh about 137 anyway. Katie Taylor, she's not going to really be, coming in under the 140 and then rehydrating up to 147 or something silly like that. So yeah, she's barely going to be breaking over the lightweight division. But yeah, Mayer, for me, use your attributes. You got long levers, and you don't necessarily use them. But no hate, just
clear criticism that's there. I mean, it's obvious.
Look,
the Robert Easter comparison was spot on, Rob. That was one of your best moments on the show.
Oh wow! Hang on, let me.
And it's tough because we never saw her opponent before, right? So yeah. I can't say how good she is. The Argentinian girl, I thought she was pretty good. Now again, decent, yeah. Mayer didn't do anything different when she found herself not dominating the fight. So you're right that like her skill set might be limited, but I think her skill set was good enough to beat a fighter. I thought, and I know like the girls before had a bunch of losses. But when you're at One Boxing Argentina, they're throwing you right in. I mean, I would bet most of those losses came early in her career against pretty good fighters, right? So, like, I'm thinking the performance wasn't that bad because I think who she fought was good. But there are concerns because there's nothing else she can do. There's no other gears. But I still think what she does is going to be good enough to beat most of the women in that weight class.
Oh, absolutely. Don't get me wrong. Like her base level of talent is still good enough to beat a lot of people in women's boxing. But is it good enough to beat Katie Taylor?
Oh, no.
Defon Pursoon?
No.
Certain women that sort of come up at, or, if she moved up a lot and fought like Celia Barakas. Like, no, those fights are not even possible. And 130 is not the deepest division. So, yeah, she could probably collect a title here and there. But once she goes up and starts facing some elite pound-for-pound level fighters, I think she's going to struggle, to be honest. Unless we see improvement in her game, and we haven't. Rob, you look like you're about to say something.
No.
Okay. Guys ready to move on?
Yes.
Lubin defeating Nathaniel Gallimore on Showtime. What, wasn't on ITV, Rob?
The only boxing content on ITV recently was Tony Bedley on a game show.
Was Shakur? I know, I saw that. Was Shakur on BT?
No. Don't think that was carried either.
Wow.
I didn't see it anywhere here. Mike Coppinger. So how could I watch the Shakur fight? And this was like, I don't know, like nearly 3 a.m. for me. I woke up like 7 a.m. I was like, oh shit, sorry, mate. I don't know. If no, I don't think anyone was carrying the fight. So he must have found a stream because he was tweeting about it. I noticed it.
Yeah, that's right. But Erickson Lubin defeated Nathaniel Gallimore via unanimous decision. Just dominated him. Like a clinic, sort of one of those clinics again. Lubin, though, never really went out of second gear. Again, sort of switching back to the issue of even with Shakur, right? Like, if you're a defensive boxer, but you're clearly outclassing your opponent, clearly are also maybe even hurting them with shots, but you're not following up with shots after you hurt them, step it up. Like, step it up in round 8, round 9, round 10. You can. And you can get that opponent out of there. And I know Nathaniel Gallimore is a tough guy. He's never been finished. But I think if Lubin wanted to really press the action, he could have got Gallimore out of there. Gallimore wanted to quit too. He had no business in there. He wasn't even throwing back at times. Like, this was a really bad showing from Gallimore. A guy that probably got overhyped by Showtime far too early when he hadn't shown anything. Same with Justin De La Roche. But digressing, Lubin looked fantastic, dominated, but again, only went to second gear. He could have went to third and fourth gear and really pressed the action if he wanted to, in my opinion. Guys, any thoughts on Erickson Lubin's performance here? I know Robbie didn't see it.
Oh, go ahead, Rob.
No, Robbie didn't see it because it was on UK TV.
I was so disappointed with Gallimore. I didn't think Gallimore was going to win, but I thought he was going to give it one hell of a fight, and like we would see Gallimore again. It just seemed like Gallimore started to figure out how to get inside in the second round, had success in the third round. I scored the third round for Gallimore because he won the early part of it, and then Lubin countered him with some shots, and then Lubin dominated him in the fourth round, and that's Gallimore was like, okay,
I'm out.
I'm good. I'm out. I tried my best. It's not going to work. He's not going to come after me, so I'll just run out the clock.
And make silly faces, like,
yeah. I'll trash talk. I was just so disappointed because like this was it for Gallimore, right? Like he's lost some fights, but he had a chance to get back to where he was, right? Like, as a hot prospect, and it's just like it didn't. It looked like he seemed to figure some things out, but then Lubin adjusted back to that, and Gallimore was like, "That's it. I got nothing else. I'll just lose the fight."
And then he put on his best Braulio Rodriguez impersonation and just made silly faces for 12 rounds while he was just getting outboxed and picked apart. It was weird. It was really a bad fight, to be honest, but I don't really blame Lubin here. Gallimore just ugly style at times. It's obvious. Speaking of ugly styles at times, Robert Easter Jr. in the co-main event defeating Adrian Granados, and actually a fun fight, a back and forth affair, one that I thought was far closer than the scorecard said. With a scorecard of 100-90 for Robert Easter, gave him literally every round where he got beat up in a fight. Like, Easter probably won the fight, but he got beat up during the fight. Granados put it on him. And shout out to Granados because he looked really like devastated in the ring after that decision was read. You can tell like this was like it in his mind. Like this was maybe his last chance to sort of bring his career back to the top. And I'm not going to say he got robbed on the judges' scorecards, but he kind of did. Like all the judges were bad. Like the closest scorecard was 97-93, and that's bad, honestly.
That's how I had it initially. The first time I watched it, I had it 7-3. I watched it again. I'm thinking maybe 5-5. Like, I think he won the last 4 rounds. Right, that's 4 right there. We're talking about Granados.
Yes.
If he won any of the first 6, now we got 5-5. Right? Like the 10-0 makes go back, watch the 7th round. There's no way Easter won that round. Right? So how did you give that round? Because you gave all the rounds to Easter. How did you give that round to Easter? I could see it 7-3 because look, Easter looks better. If you're a bad judge, like I get why you'd score the fight for Easter because he looks more, he moves better. Like I get how you would get to 7-3 if you're a bad judge, right? Like I was watching it half-assed, and that's how I got to 7-3. I watched it again. I was like, ooh, this fight's real close. I think a draw is an acceptable decision. I think 6-4 Easter or 5-5 is probably where this fight was. But yeah, I'd like to see Granados again. Like, I'd like to see this fight again. I don't think either of those guys are going to win a belt at 140, so let's do this again. It was fun the first time. Let's do it again.
And the judge brother is John Portuhua, P-O-T-U-R-A-J. I don't know how that's pronounced. That's the last name. But Johnny boy, you done fucked up. And I'm going to recognize that name for the rest of my life now because that's how bad of a scorecard that was.
Hopefully we don't hear that name again, right? Because hopefully the Pennsylvania Commission calls him in and says, explain this, and you're suspended until you can explain this, and there's no explaining this, so see you later. Like,
all I've seen is like the punch stats, and I'm like, wait, I know punch stats aren't like full indication, but it was like Granados looked like he apparently landed like 200 more punches than Easter did, and I'm like, what? And he lost every round.
Dude,
I'm like,
it's so bad.
I've got to watch this, but I haven't looked for a link yet. But I'm gonna watch it and like just sort of roughly score it myself. But I'm like, hey, what the fuck?
And I would say, like, watch this fight if you haven't yet. I know, like, UK fans, it wasn't televised. Find it on dailymotion.com. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And probably even on YouTube at this point in time. Let's be honest. But this fight was actually a fun fight. Like, yeah, like we all joke about Easter here on the show, but this was actually a fun and entertaining fight. And Granados is one of those guys that's kind of like that level above a journeyman, kind of that gatekeeper status, that he always puts on fun fights. I like supporting guys of Adrian Granados' level, so to speak, right? Like they deserve support.
And just be careful, people, when you're typing in Easter versus, and then you go to press G for no, who did he fight?
Granados, Adrian Granados.
Yeah, but no, when you go for the G, the B is next to it, and it might recommend Easter Bartholomew.
Don't do that one.
Just check your typing, all right? Click on the right one, and yeah, it sounds like it was a good fight.
But to this point, quickly, Easter, he moved up in weight. This is the first time at 140, right? Am I the only one that thought he looked out of shape in this fight in a way? Like, I felt like he added no muscle. I felt like he had a little tiny gut on him. I felt like Easter didn't, move up in weight. He just didn't cut weight, if that makes sense. He didn't cut the extra 5 pounds. And that's what it kind of looked like to me. Like his shoulders didn't look more developed. His arms didn't look more developed. His legs didn't look more developed. He added no muscle tone at all when he moved up in weight. And I felt like that was a huge missed opportunity by a guy that needs to add muscle to his frame. Gary, did you notice that at all? Or am I just seeing that?
I didn't really notice that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I didn't notice it.
Go back and watch the fight maybe and tell me if I'm crazy, Gary. Or at least watch a couple rounds just to get a look of Easter. He looked out of shape in a way to me, which is odd because he's not out of shape. But to me, he did, comparative to 135. But anyways, close fight, and these scorecards were trash. But Easter picked up a win, probably lining himself up for some fight of some sort. God knows what PBC is thinking for him. I say we just get over it, and we have the two friends fight and have Broner and Easter fight. I'll be honest. I'll be okay with that. But
Omar Figueroa and Easter. You get that same kind of scrap you'd get with Granados. But with
right there. Matchmaker Gary actually bringing up a good fight with one of his biased fighters that he loves. I was actually shocked by that. Way to go.
Wasn't which Figueroa was ordered by the WBC to fight against someone for something?
It wasn't Omar. I don't think so.
Wasn't it a Figueroa versus? Might have been Brandon, I guess. But
Brandon's a 122 pounder, but he's with the WBA. He's got the WBA interim belt or whatever they call it, interim belt. Yeah.
He ordered 2 people to fight, and they'll be as like a final eliminator for somebody.
Well, it's definitely not welterweight because welterweight would just be Earl Spence and Danny Garcia. That's what they ordered.
And he just lost every single round badly to Ugas, like just a couple months ago.
Well, I know it's not Omar. I know it's not Omar because Omar's at
Yeah.
147, and the 147 order was just Spence Danny. Maybe they ordered another fight after that, but the mandatory for Spence would be Danny Garcia. That's the mandatory right now.
I'm gonna find something. 1 second.
Maybe they ordered like Figueroa Ugas for like another eliminator, but like, God, poor Figueroa, man. Like that would just be mean.
I saw him at his brother's fight, and I asked him like,
Wait. I'm getting confused. I got a name muddled up.
What name were you thinking of?
I was thinking of Fortuna. Javier Fortuna.
Ah, no, you're right. Fortuna was ordered for the Devin Haney.
Was it Bartholomew and Fortuna? No. I can't remember who they ordered, but it's to get his WBC mandatory.
It was actually a really good fight. It wasn't a good fight. It was just names we know. It was Jesus Cuellar versus Javier Fortuna at 135, and Cuellar is a fucking featherweight.
Yeah, he ain't gonna want. He couldn't fight at 130.
And that's the eliminator for Devin Haney's WBC air quotes. I know you guys can't see my hands right now. WBC belt. Moving on though, because that's all the fights of the weekend. I know Omar Douglas fought on the card. I didn't see the fight. What else? Anyone else of note on this card? No. We can move on. One more card to get to. Elwin Soto defeating Edward Heno, and Angel Tito Costa defeating Raymond Tabugan. I'm gonna go with that. Tabugan. And Toboggan. But Soto and Heno put on a really close back and forth fight. Some people even picked Heno and scored it for Heno. I thought Soto did enough to win, but I have no issue with whoever you thought won that fight. Another really good fight of this weekend that people should go watch. And Angel Tito Costa knocked out Raymond Tabugan, or however we're going to pronounce it, and knocked him out in vicious fashion in the 5th round. So that was nice to see. A guy, especially that went rounds with, who did he go rounds with? Inoue, I want to say. Maybe Estrada. Who did this guy go rounds with? Luis Nery. That's who it was. He went rounds with Luis Nery at a higher weight class even. And I think Acosta was able to knock him out sooner. So shout out to Angel Tito Acosta, a really fun fighter. Guys, any quick thoughts on this card?
I still I said this to you in the green room. I can't believe Soto beat Acosta. I know Acosta can get hit, but he's so much better than Soto. And I thought Soto won, but he's fighting life and death fights with guys who aren't even on Acosta's level. How did he beat Acosta? I don't know if there's plans to have them rematch, but I would pick Acosta to blow him out in a rematch.
I agree. Rob, did you catch this one? Was on UK TV, I'm assuming, and you're not gonna go Daily Motion, but you should though. These fights were fun. I would recommend them for hardcore fans. If you didn't watch these for whatever reason, find them. Allthebestfights.com probably have them as well, guys. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Giving you the blueprint here to watch illegal fights, or fights illegally. But moving on to the news of the day, and running out of time, we have to hurry this up. Let's talk about Floyd Mayweather here. Oh my God.
Oh, this won't take long.
Hold on, guys. I gotta fix this really fast.
What, Manny?
Oh yeah, the clip was messed up. Hold on. Rob, talk for a second. Talk about, I don't know, Ritson.
What? Yeah, don't worry about fighting Josh Taylor. But no, everybody, thanks in the chat. Hit that thumbs up, share the show, all that usual good stuff. Always time for when Matt says. That's all I do whenever Matt says, take the mic. I go,
do that. Hey, that's a perfect time to do that, Rob.
All that good stuff.
Here it is. Manny Pacquiao has a message to Mayweather. Let's play this clip. Maybe music off just in case of copyright. I don't. I waited to start speaking words. It's really bad.
Floyd Mayweather, if you want a real fight, fight me. If you want an exhibition, my guy, my friend, Jack Ma will take care of you. The real money team.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Jack Ma is like a mid-50-year-old billionaire, right?
Yeah.
Guys, what is this?
It's nothing. Just move on.
No, but I mean, are we? Guys, I need a real take from this, okay? Manny Pacquiao, is he fighting Floyd Mayweather or is Jack Ma going to fight him in an exhibition fight?
Neither. Maybe
Can you just let Floyd retire? Really?
Please.
Just let him retire. Please.
Guys, I played this clip so many times to the listeners right now. It's so good.
I just like the music.
If you're watching on podcasts, you gotta watch this on YouTube. It's amazing. It's classic. Wow.
Fight me.
Look, Rob,
with a billionaire.
Rob, you know me. I'm hugely in favor of a Mayweather Pacquiao rematch, right? But not like this, guys. Please, not like this.
No.
Just go meet on the NBA floor again and like exchange numbers. Do that again, please. Go to like a Laker Clipper game. Something else, for the love of God. Not this. And Jack Ma, whoever you are, get the fuck off my screen, please. I never want to see you ever again associated with boxing. I don't even know who you are, but you're a billionaire, so I automatically don't like you.
Matt, now that you brought up the NBA game, do you want to bring up the Spurs game?
Just bring up your fucking joke, okay, Gary?
Tottenham.
World boxing champion Mario Barrios was honored by the San Antonio Spurs prior to their...
Dude, every time I see like mainstream like outlets, publications, whatever it may be, classify a regular champion or an interim champion as a just world champion, and that's it. Just say Mario Barrios, boxing world champion. Hold on, I think I have something for that.
I mean, maybe that's your job, but where I come from, people like that get slapped.
Yes, you should get slapped, all of you. Whoever is the producer of the San Antonio arena, you should get slapped. Don't do that, please. At least put like WBA champion, right? Like at least so we know, like us fans are aware that you're doing this. But come on, for the casuals, what are you doing? Just spreading disinformation. Stop it, please. But anyways, moving on. Bullshit. Gervonta Davis, speaking of more bullshit. We talked about this before, but we're going to talk about it again, guys. Gervonta Davis is out there again saying, Santa Cruz, we got a headline pay-per-view in 2020. No, please no. Like, I have no issue with this being a co-main event to pay-per-view. A la Danny Garcia, Lucas Matisse, co-main eventing Canelo, Mayweather, which was amazing. I don't want to see Danny versus Postal as a pay-per-view headliner. I don't want to see Gervonta Davis, Santa Cruz as a pay-per-view headliner.
No, it's a great Fox card, right? Like if that's on Fox, it'll do a good number too. Like put it on Fox and you get a lot of eyes on it. You put it on pay-per-view, come on, man. Like I'll pay for it because it's a good fight, but that thing's gonna bomb.
And I'll be honest, like you put this on Fox, you might get your best ratings since you guys started this deal. To be honest, like I would be like the natural demographics you have here, the natural star power you have here with Gervonta Davis plus the Mayweather connection. Like, how do you not put this on Fox and just go all out and get a huge viewership?
I don't know. Why has he not been on Fox already? I'm not doing the whole Eddie said, but he kind of said he's heard. Eddie Hearn said he's heard on the grapevine that Fox don't want Gervonta Davis, or he's not part of the Gervonta Davis. Maybe it's the Floyd Showtime thing.
I've always thought that was it, to be honest.
Yeah,
that Floyd and Showtime have a very personal relationship, and therefore that's why you see Floyd Mayweather fighters on Showtime, a la Badou Jack, for example, right? Another Mayweather fighter. He's only been on the Showtime cards this year, right?
Yeah.
What was him and when he got the horrible cut?
Showtime.
Was that Showtime? I don't remember, to be honest.
Marcus Brown, it was Showtime.
Yeah, that was Showtime. You're right. And then obviously the next one is Showtime. That's the co-main event to Gervonta Davis Gamboa. That's a Mayweather card. So I think the Mayweather connection is absolutely there for Showtime.
Yeah.
You're 100% right about that.
Seems like everyone's getting all this big shine from Fox, and the big pay-per-view star, future pay-per-view star, keep doing that, isn't getting the big push from the bigger network, right?
And that's obviously, I think, in large part due to the Mayweather connection and promotion. Like, that is a double-edged sword if we've ever seen it for Gervonta Davis. Like, I think that has obviously elevated his status in terms of casual fans. It has. It just in the U.S. It has, Rob. It just.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you.
No, I was thinking of a different weapon because it seems more than just a double-edged sword.
But the other side is that obviously Mayweather and him have had a very, what would be the right term, guys?
I don't know what you
a rough relationship, let's say, right? Like they haven't had a good relationship as promoter and fighter. They just haven't. That has hurt him drastically. It's clear as day. It's a clear double-edged sword.
Allegedly take. I don't know if this is TMZ worthy, but didn't Tank allegedly take Floyd's girlfriend?
Well, that's not what I heard in Mayweather's gym, which I've talked about numerous times, which I won't get into again.
I'm not going to comment on that. I saw what Rob was talking about. I mean, it came from a source that seemed like somebody's blog out of their basement, and like he was looking to start a war. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm not going to start quoting something off of that site that it came from.
What side did it come from?
I don't. It was something I never heard of. It was some really. Rob, do you remember? I sent it out. I said, "Can someone take a look into this?"
Oh, I'm
it's Boxing News 24 probably. No,
it wasn't. It was something else. It was weird.
I don't know.
Anyways, digressing. Gervonta Davis, Leo Santa Cruz, pay-per-view. We're all against it being a pay-per-view. I think we're all like in favor of the fight in sense, right? Even though the whole moving up to lightweight, moving back down to 130 is bullshit. The fight itself is a fun fight. It's competitive. We have no issue with the fight. Just don't make it pay-per-view.
Just why move up and fight someone for your old belt?
That's stupid. That's obviously stupid. But the fight itself on paper is still a good fight if you take that out. But again, you added $75 price tag on top of it.
But with him going back down to fight for his old belt, he is going to address the balance and dare to be great, right?
Yes, sure.
With moving up to fight Josh Taylor, so he said after my next fight, that's what he wants to do.
We're going to skip some topic just for the sake of time. It's late. Tyson Fury is set to train with Conor McGregor for a move into MMA. Quote, I have been speaking to Conor about it. He's willing to train me. It's going to be good.
I need... What soundbite should I get for someone who's trolling people? I need a trolling soundbite.
Hold on.
He just went with it. He just rolled with it in the interview. He's a fucking troll. He knows what he's doing.
I got the perfect one.
It's bullshit.
No, I'm like, yeah, okay.
It's bullshit.
It is a serious question though. A guy 6'9" like Tyson Fury. I mean, isn't that like too big? Like, isn't there too much to grab and take down for a UFC fighter to be 6'9"?
There's more of him to grab and take down.
You know what I'm saying? Like his legs are long. It's easy to you know what I'm saying? Like his build is great for boxing, but that doesn't really work. I wouldn't think for UFC, would it?
I'm not answering that question. Yes, it would work.
Oh.
Tall, rangy fighters do work in the heavyweight division in the UFC. Absolutely.
Okay, I take that back.
Are the heavyweights generally big guys?
Now, the thing is that there's a
6'9".
There is a heavyweight cap for UFC heavyweight division, right? Like for boxing, you can be as heavy as you want, right?
Yeah.
For the UFC heavyweight division, you can only be as big as 265 on weigh-in day. So for a lot of the very big guys, a la Jared Miller, who's like 6'9" and 300 plus pounds, they could never make the heavyweight division because they're just too big. Fury, though, he's like 250 now and 6'9", so he can make the heavyweight division no problem.
Yeah.
And there's been 6'9", 7 foot tall heavyweight fighters in the UFC. Stefan Struve, Sammy Schilt, all examples.
Greats.
With Sammy Schilt, I mean, he was a great all-time great kickboxer that transitioned to MMA and had a great MMA career. I don't think he ever won the Pride Championship because he was in Pride before the UFC heavyweight division took off, when Japanese MMA was bigger. Stipe Miocic's pretty tall. He's like 6'5", you know, like he's like Junior Santos 6'4", you know, like these aren't short men at all.
I mean, look, with Fury's boxing background and obviously his wrestling abilities,
it's not wrestling ability. It's WWE. It's so stupid.
Gary, come on, I'm fucking around. You know, I can see him getting a tap out with the camel clutch.
We're moving on. Moving on.
I think he's straight up trolling.
I hope he is.
Even Connor joined in with it, and he was like, "Up the Furies." He quote tweeted on a fucking Tyson Fury video from Sky Sports News or something, and he's like, "Up the Furies." And I think it's just it's keeping his name in the thing. Now it's all of a sudden. Now look, it's his wrestling fucking WWE career. Then he's going to go to MMA. This is all then going to make fucking Wilder say some shit in it. It's just all bluster and fucking headlines.
But let's talk about a potential move to MMA for a boxer that maybe isn't headlines. Claressa Shields has been talking about moving to MMA a lot in the last week or so. Exact quote. She says, this is a quote that she's quoting from Twitter. "You need a goal that scares you a little bit." And she says, "This quote is really making me consider trying the UFC. I had this weird feeling about turning pro a few years ago, and I stumbled up on this quote and decided to do it. And then yesterday, this same quote reappeared. With all this talk about Mia Nunes, I had that same feeling." Scott Coker of Bellator has also come out and said that they would offer her a contract, blah, blah, blah. Because obviously Chris Cyborg is now in Bellator, so Chris Cyborg, Claressa Shields fight, if they wanted to make that would be in Bellator, not UFC now. But digressing, do we think this is legitimate, guys? This one seems a little bit different than the Fury one, obviously.
Yeah, this has got like actual legs to it, I think.
Yeah.
Proper reporting about it.
So preliminary thought, do we think that Shields does leave boxing to MMA? A la Holly Holm.
Anything to duck Savannah Marshall, right?
But that was a good troll there, Rob. That was good. Savannah Marshall needs to fight someone that doesn't have a below 500 record before I think about her in any respect to elite competition. Gary, do you think that Shields does make the transition over to MMA?
I don't think it'll be yes, but not now.
Okay.
I think that it was a threat to try to get more money. You know, she's too good to leave the sport, but it's going to get to a point where if her purses don't get bigger, yeah, she's going to leave. Why wouldn't she? You know what I'm saying? Like, even if she's not the best person in UFC, she's still going to make more than she's making now.
I don't know about that. What was her last purse for Hammer? Guys?
I'll have a look.
Was that her last fight, or did she have one fight before in between that? I'm trying to remember.
Didn't we do this? Like her fight did the same that Tank's fight did against Hugo Boss, and then like the purses were like it was just like a tenth of what Tank made.
Well, of course. I think, but again, we're talking about transitioning to the UFC, where top UFC fighters make 20% of wage share, while boxers make 70%. It's a big difference here.
Yeah,
if Shields is making over $300,000 right now in boxing, there is no monetary incentive for her to go to the UFC.
Like the other guys who bring in that ratings are making, but like if she can get a $250,000, 300,000, 500,000 over the next year or two, she'll stay. If it doesn't, I mean, you're being underappreciated. You know what I'm saying? And there should just be a women's boxing league, right? Separate from the major sanctioning organizations. Just do your own thing, right? And then you'll have the best fight the best organically, and they can control the purses more. Because this right now, when you see women do decent ratings, but the pay isn't comparable, they don't have any leverage to argue. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like other sports where they have a union. Like, they don't.
Boxers have far more leverage than, I would say, again, UFC fighters. If we're talking about only combat sports here, we're not talking about her going to a unionized sport. She's going to at least a less regulated sport, actually, not a more regulated sport when it comes to fighter pay. But Rob, do you have the purse information for the Hammer fight?
Yes, each were guaranteed a base purse of $250,000, but the winner would be rewarded with a $500,000 bonus, raising the winner's purse to $750,000.
There you go.
Now, she would not make more money in the UFC. Amanda Nunes, and Rob, you can look this up again if you want. I think this is UFC 232. It should have the purse information easily available. Nunes Cyborg, right? The fight to determine the pound for pound greatest women's MMA fighter of all time, right? I think one of them made $500,000 guaranteed, and one made $750,000 guaranteed.
Yeah.
I could be wrong about that though. It could be even less.
What, for the women?
Yes, and technically, yes, they do get maybe a pay-per-view points, but they're the co-main event to a John Jones card. John Jones is getting the lion's share of the pay-per-view.
Oh,
bonus.
look, Gustafsson on the undercard of the main event got 500,000.
Well, he's not the undercard of the main event. He's the part of the main event.
I mean, the B side to the main event. Sorry. Let me find it.
Thank you, Rob. This is it's good for women out there thinking about making that transition to MMA. On the low level, right? You're making more money in MMA than you are in boxing, right? If you're a top 20, top 30, top 40 fighter in women's boxing, you will guarantee make more money in MMA. You're just more likely to. However, at the very, very top, those top 10, you're actually more likely more likely to make less money, I think, in the UFC from a pure statistical standpoint. John Nash, the Bloody Elbow, has huge articles about fighter pay in both boxing and UFC that does compare these numbers. If you guys want to check it out, again, John Nash, Bloody Elbow, type in fighter pay, and I guarantee you a ton of articles are going to pop up, and with tons of data. And he took tens of thousands of documents from state commissions to get the data tables in order. So the guy is indispensable when it comes to information like this. Rob, do you have the purse information yet?
I think Amanda Nunes got it says 500,000, but it says 300 and then a
win bonus. Oh, okay, that's fine. What's the base? Not the total, not the win bonus included.
Oh, one's a.
Well, if there's a first number and a second number, that second number is called a win bonus in the UFC.
Okay, 300,000.
Thank you.
And then the other one said 200,000 bonus. So I guess is that what it is?
Yeah. It's exactly. What it is.
Against Cyborg 350 it says, but there is no split on that. Doesn't show you what the.
Then she didn't get a win bonus. She's just up front. Here's 350. That's what it is. The UFC is weird like that, but. I mean, again, 350 to 250, but again, Shields made 750,000 total for that fight with Hammer. And I'll be honest, that's not even the biggest fight for Shields on the horizon. Brackets is a bigger fight, and I know I give Rob a lot of shit for this, but Savannah Marshall, when she starts getting her shit together and starts fighting elite competition, that's going to be a big fight in the UK. She's going to make money in boxing. There's still fights for that. However,
I want to retract that. I don't think she's going to the UFC. If she's already making more than she would at UFC, she's not going to leave.
And especially think about she's not making Amanda Nunes, Chris Cyborg numbers off rip. She probably isn't. Especially if it goes to Bellator too. She's not making 300,000 guaranteed per fight. That just is not happening. 250,000 guaranteed per fight. It's just not happening usually. Moving on though, because I think we're all in agreement that she's definitely thinking about this legitimately. It's not like a troll like Tyson Fury. Does she weigh out the options though and actually sort of go down this path is yet to be seen, and it's hard to predict at this point in time due to just the disparity in the businesses of boxing and MMA. Moving on, but still on the topic of women's boxing, Heather Hardy, officially or maybe unofficially, depending who you ask now, is receiving a 6-month suspension and fined $10,000 by the New York State Athletic Commission. This is per Jake Donovan of Boxing Scene. Now, Heather Hardy has come out and denied this, actually, and she says, just heard via Twitter that there's a reporter saying that the New York State Athletic Commission suspended and fined me. One, never heard from this air quote reporter, which I gotta say, Jake Donovan's a decent reporter, so I don't know why she's taking umbrage with that. Never heard from the New York State Athletic Commission. No clue if this story is even true. I've been communicating openly with the WBC about the matter, and we're going to do the same with the New York State Athletic Commission if they pick up the phone. I never took a PD in my life, never will. If lobbying efforts from my opponent and her manager, a la Jordan, we see you out there, are influencing decisions now, I've been biting my tongue, and it's not going to happen anymore. I'm fucking pissed, and I'm fighting this bullshit. So we have contradicting statements here, obviously from one, Jake Donovan, a reporter, saying that New York has fined her, has suspended her, even though the suspension fine isn't really that much, honestly. But Hardy's coming out and denying that, saying that she's not been notified about this at all. So, guys, what are we thinking here?
Did you see what did I send you the one from Woodsy?
No, I don't think you did. Or if you did, I didn't see it.
I thought I did.
Oh, hold on. So, this is from Michael Woods. So I just messaged the New York State Athletic Commission to verify stories floating around. I'd be really surprised if any information was leaked before the athlete was contacted and informed. That would be poor form. Also, an athlete would have the right to get a hearing and explain explain themselves. So wait, first off, there's a lot of nothing because he just says he contacted them and he hasn't heard back. Awesome.
No, I'm just saying, as far as like his poor form, if this has come out,
it does
or
happen.
he knows about it.
It does happen though. Like
yeah.
Like it's not in the rules. I'll put it that way. It's poor form. That's very specific wording there. It's not against the rules and regulations of any athletic commission to do this.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean anything to me at this point. Like, sorry.
Yeah, I think Jake Donovan also done an updated story. He added to the story with actual quotes from the
New York Athletic Commission.
Yeah, so
again, it's Jake Donovan. He's a good reporter. I kind of trust his reporting.
With Heather denying it or whatever, or saying, "Is this even true?" Well, he's got quotes from the thing, so saying, "Yes, you're fined," and this, that, and the other. So I don't know. I guess she's gonna, like she said, fight it, but I don't know. She was saying, "I've never taken a PED." That might be true, but you've got something in your system that's on the ban list, so it doesn't necessarily mean you're sat there trying to gain an advantage on purpose. But
and again, it's a light suspension, man. It's 6 months. Like in sports overall, we forget and forgive when it comes to PED use rather quickly, right? Especially in combat sports, we tend to forget and forgive fairly soon. Look at Canelo Alvarez. Like, think about how little of a talking point it is that he popped for clenbuterol a year ago.
All he gets is people, as soon as he says anything, it's just like, oh, Mexican beef.
Well, no, but like fans do that, but like also fans still watch his content. You know what I mean? Like, like cancel culture doesn't exist for this type of shit, right? Like, there's no one out there canceling Canelo or Heather Hardy or Alexander Povetkin for this shit, or Tyson Fury or Huey Fury or whoever's out there popping for shit. No one cares.
Huey Fury popped too?
Oh, multiple times, bro.
Oh.
They popped at the same time too. It was really cute. They had hearings together. It was adorable. And he also popped for, I think it was.
Oh yeah, Huey Fury blamed it on bad pork or something, right? Isn't that what?
It was.
Yeah.
It was beef. It was
beef. Okay.
Well, it wasn't literally beef, but I want to say it was boar meat. Yeah, and it was clenbuterol. One of the things they popped for was clenbuterol, so that's why they used that excuse. But WADA there's no data to support clenbuterol contamination in the UK comparative to Mexico and China. Digressing though, talking about rules and rule sets being avoided or ignored or whatever, confusion has ensued, obviously, since the whole WBO bullshit. And it seems like, try to do my best to explain this, that the fight is going on, that Briedis Dorticos, Briedis Dorticos is going on. It's going forward.
I know.
And the winner of that is supposed to fight Glowacki. That's the ruling now. I'm because remember Jake Donovan ended up fixing this, right? This is what it is. It's not that this fight, the Briedis Dorticos fight, is canceled and that Glowacki is now inside the tournament and they have to do this. No, they have ruled that the ruling will stand, but Glowacki would be the mandatory, so to speak, for the winner of this fight. That's what they've ordered. Now, look, it's the WBO and sanctioning bodies, so who knows if they stick to this? But that's what they're reporting. That's what they've decided. Guys, any thoughts about Glowacki, Dorticos, Briedis? Do any of us really care about this saga at this point in time, or are we just ready for this cruiserweight tournament that was not needed to be over with?
Well, I want to see the fight.
Of course.
I'm into the fight, so whatever gets us closer to making that fight happen, because it's a good fight.
Agreed. Rob?
Yeah, it seems harsh on Glowacki to say, let's just fucking whatever, because it was like that. But this should have been dealt with.
Talk to the mic, Rob. Talk to the mic, please.
I was this way in front of my face.
But you were talking to the side like this. See how it's different when you talk like this, when it's right in front of the mic?
Yeah, I know how to use it. I'm just
I can't hear you.
Yeah, okay. I forgot what I was saying. Fucking move on.
You're saying Glowacki, Briedis, Dorticos?
Yeah, no, this should have just been dealt with such a long time ago now. It's been forever since that fight. So why is it taking till now? But it's just interesting that I don't know. Callum Sutherland was on the Matchroom before the bell show the morning of the Regis Prograis-Taylor fight, and he was like, "Yeah, because news just in today, the result stands, and the winner will have to fight Glowacki." But I think there's something different, Matt. I think there's been an update on this. I think it's still different.
Here's what it is. Exact ruling. The ruling, however, does not prevent Briedis from moving forward with the World Boxing Super Series finals if he so chooses. It would just potentially come without the blessing of the WBO. That means nothing.
All right. Okay.
Right? They say, like, maybe we won't bless the fight and give it our sanctioning. But you have to fight Glowacki after, please. That's all they're saying.
Water on it.
And look, Jay, there's no way you can say that an entity that literally avoids regulation and has situations like this is saving boxing, quote, saving boxing. I'm sorry. A promotional outfit, which is kind of what World Boxing Super Series is, avoiding commissions is the exact opposite of saving boxing. It's actually hurting boxing because it makes situations like this happen. What, Gary? You had a little scoff there.
It was just no. The World Boxing Super Series is saving boxing. I mean, that was just that's a hot take. I mean,
it's a shit take. And I love you, Jay.
I don't know the argument for that.
Jay, I love you in the chat, but that's a very shit argument. Bad one. Moving on. I think it's the last topic of the day. Yes, and it's a quick one that I think none of us are going to have a take on. Anthony Ogogo. Is that how you pronounce the last name? I remember this guy boxing. Right? Yeah. Olympic bronze medalist. He's entering pro wrestling and is going to the AEW because he obviously did not have a great pro career. Good for him. I hear that they're trying to make him the new The Rock, so good luck with that.
Now, look, I believe AEW has kind of done very well since it started.
They're the hipster brand, definitely.
Yeah, and Anthony Ogogo, yeah, look, he had to shorten his boxing career, had a horrible eye injury that he had a lot of operations and trying to correct it, but it just isn't happening. So he's going to fight in a sport where you don't have to fight. But no, good on him. You know, he's found something else that he's still going to be, I guess, entertaining fans in sort of in a way with a sort of fight sport, if you know what I mean, entertainment or whatever. So he's still under the lights, doing his thing in front of a lot of fans and getting paid for it. So good on him. So
agreed. Gary, I assume you don't care.
No, interesting sidebar. The ring announcer, Thomas Triber, used to be a professional wrestler in Ted Turner's WCW in the 90s. The professional wrestler just made me think of that for some reason.
Cool.
Great fun fact there, Gary. Appreciate it.
That's all I got on that issue, on that topic.
Awesome.
Very quickly, just to rattle through, Nigel Benn's fight with Soto Bika is off. Thank God. And what else? Yeah, just Ronnie Shields out there saying...
brief mention of that because, look, Ronnie's not a manager, and Ronnie... Like, I've talked to Ronnie Shields before. He doesn't like talking about business because he admits he's not involved with the business. But him out there saying that we don't need Andrade for Jamal Charlo, get the fuck out of here, Ronnie.
What for? Why do it? And everyone in the comments was basically, well, he's got a world title that you will have to have been handed over to. You know, you would actually.
Well, to be fair, Andrade kind of had his title handed to him as well.
You've talked to Ronnie Shields, you said before, Matt?
Yes.
Okay, he's a straight shooter. Like,
he is definitely a straight shooter. Yes.
Ronnie Shields is the kind of guy. If you show him a baby and the baby's ugly, he'll be like, "That baby's not attractive," right? He'll tell you exactly what he thinks. If he's saying that, if he's saying that, Ronnie Shields means it. I don't know.
No, I'm not saying he doesn't mean it.
Okay.
I don't know if it has any ramification because he's a trainer, and I usually don't value trainers when it comes to business talk as much.
Yeah, that's not what they do.
It's just because he said it, Gary, doesn't make it a true statement or fact.
No, it doesn't make it a true statement or a fact, but you're getting his honest opinion on it.
I agree with that absolutely. He definitely thinks that they don't need Andrade, right?
Gary,
however,
I heard a lot of your honest opinions.
Don't bring up pre-show green room arguments, okay? We're over that. But I would definitely say that Jamal Charlo and Al Heyman should be aware that getting Andrade's belt has value to it. And if they aren't aware of that, then God, man, I can't help him. Sorry. But guys, that's going to be it for today. Find me, Matt Hunter, MCR, all platforms on social media. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe. Rob, where can people find you?
UK MCR, Instagram and Twitter. Also, our furry friend who's left is Foogatti. I don't know if it's underscore.
No, just Foogatti MCR.
Yeah, MCR on whatever he's on. I think Gary's on MySpace apparently. But yeah, thanks everybody. Catch you on the next one. And yeah, thumbs up, share the show. Good stuff.
Gary.
Find me on all forms social media, 3D Boxing. It's a great show, guys.
Peace.
Everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.